Alright, good evening and welcome to, another round of the Australasian Sim Racing Super 2 Championship from Pukekohe. Hopefully tonight goes smoothly. We've just had an OBS update and of course we've had some issues with our previous streams with the old upload rate. So hopefully that's sorted for tonight and we're able to live broadcast this one. And once again, joining me in the commentary box is Benjamin Rody Rhodes. Rody, how's it going, mate?
It's pretty good. It's been a while. It's been a long time since last talked on Mike. Actually, it would go back to the last Supercars round, which is something like 2 months ago now. But no, I'm really happy to be back in this, and happy to be back to some sprint action Supercars racing after the success of the Enduro Cup.
Yeah. So very. I'd have to say, at least from my point of view, not so much from a driving sense, but just from participation and the races that we had and the feedback from people on the Discord and stuff like that. It was a very successful Enduro Cup, and looking forward to next year already. Whether I'm driving or not, I don't know yet, but there's still a long way to go. But fantastic. Pretty much the entire Super 2 field as well as Supercar field were in attendance and had a good crack and some interesting results, and I'm sure a few of them will be looking to have a little bit more luck next time around. But we're back here at Super 2. It's been a long time already. I literally cannot even remember when the last round at Adelaide was. It was that long ago. And all I know is that there was some incidents in that Adelaide round that we had to sort out, but outside of that, though, I can't remember too much. But we're back here, Pukekohe. Second last round of the championship. From practice and from the season that we've had so far, what do you see being crucial around and the favourites coming into this Pukekohe
round? It'll be interesting because a lot of guys got into this early. Started it back on the practice train again because they've been sweating Enduro Cup stuff where they've had 2 weeks of practice, and now they're back into sort of you get 1 week to practice. So a lot of them are really compacting their schedules back down again rather than dropping in for an hour or two a day. They're slogging out some big hours. Like we've seen times that go down to the low 102s, which is, I can't remember the records around here, but I think that gets pretty close to smashing them. But that's on the soft tyre, and we saw when we were last here in the Summer Series that to run the soft tyre, you had to single stop it. And what you ended up with was guys on fresh soft tyres. Halfway through the race, were on pace with those guys down the back were on pace with guys at the front on the used hards. But the gist of that is you're not going to use softs. It might be one of the first races we've had that I think softs are not an option for the race, unless there's some safety cars and unless you can really manage those tyres. But I don't think anyone's necessarily game enough to try that, although we've been proven wrong before. But yeah, I've been to see this a bit of a shuffle up the order. Some guys that have had a lot of practice through the running in the Enduro Cup, and some of the guys have actually had the time off. A couple of new guys to drop in the mixture as well. I see Damian Kelly in here. Laszlo Teglis also in here for his first time. A couple of the guys coming back into things as well. We haven't seen Thomas Cole, aka Wilco, since I think Summer Series itself, or it would actually be not Summer Series. One of the last times we saw Thomas Cole was the very first season of Super 2, which
this track, I believe, was I think he only did the one round, I think, going by memory, and it was here. And he ended up in the crowd at the final corner. So
he ended up in the crowd at the final corner. He's one of, I think, at least 6 drivers that was a victim of my fuel numbers. And we'll get into that later because we're having a good period of 3 events that are lining up, which is bringing back all my worst memories. But it's interesting because I haven't had a chance to obviously have too much of a look at these guys in a little while. I've been running against a lot of them in Enduro Cup, but the pace you do in an Enduro stint is very different to what you're going to do in a sprint session, because you really just you have to get things to the end, whereas or the end of a stint as opposed to these where tyre wise you're probably past the stint on the softs, but you're really in the window of fuel and hard tyres, so you can just run it as hard as you want to. But we'll see where things are at from qualifying, and I suppose if any really dead ringers at the front, those guys are probably pretty confident in the softs, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so you have seen, as you said, sometimes the 102s, Braxton and Peter Throw are actually the fastest in the recently just gone official practice session. So Red Bull 88812 there. So, and both those guys, of course, on their home track. Number of drivers here at their home circuit here, hoping to have a good outing. So we'll see those two Red Bull drivers looking to continue that form into the races. And here it is, the track map of Pukekohe Park Raceway here. 11 turns. There will be 3 races tonight, each of them being 18 laps. And just a reminder that qualifying sessions, the compound, see there's 2 compounds, soft and hard. The one that you qualify on, that's the compound you have to start the race on. So if you do see some very quick low 3s and high 2s, one would hazard a guess there, Rody, that they're on the soft tyre. But of course, drivers will have to nurse those tyres throughout the race. You can change, it doesn't have to be the exact same tyre that you use in the qualifying session to start the race. It's just got to be the same compound. So if you qualify on a set of soft tyres, you can whack a new set of soft tyres on for the start of the race, and same with hard tyres. You just can't swap between the 2 different compounds there. So qualifying, I think we'll see fairly early on what compounds people are choosing. And from what I've been hearing, or what we've both been hearing, the hard tyre probably going to be the pick because, just a hair over a minute around this Pukekohe Park Raceway circuit, and a pit lane that's fairly long for the circuit length, as well as it being 40 kilometres an hour, Rody. You do not want to stop around this track.
No, it is for the length of the track and the length of the lap. It is a very long, very slow pit lane, and yeah, you don't want to get caught out in it. So I think a lot of the guys are going to defer. Like we've had guys in here this season who have proven, despite it just being an out-and-out sprint racing format and sprint racing attitude to the whole season. There are some guys that have come out at the top as tyre conservers. Coxey and Terma, I remember. I think might have been possibly Berkey when he was racing. He's not here tonight. He's up in Coffs Harbour doing a karting race. But that's sort of 3. There was one other as well. I can't remember who it was. But there's a group of guys who have consistently been the guys you look to sort of get to get a soft tyre to the end. But I think even those guys might find it a bridge too far. So yeah, it might be one of the only races this season, depending on how the next round goes. But I think this might be probably the only round where softs are really not an option. We've been proven wrong before, and the drivers know about this better than I do.
Yeah, so I've not done any running around this circuit, even when I did make the modifications and had all the boards and all that stuff. All I did was send the AI around just to make sure the track worked and didn't crash. So I couldn't even give you the tyre numbers on that. So, and I've not really spoken to anyone that's done any substantial running around here. So it will be interesting. 18 laps, not a very long time around this circuit, but I do believe we're running 2 times tyres around this circuit. So you may be able to really just, on that soft tyre, just go for it in qualifying, get the pole position, and in the race you're driving at 70% just to make sure that you're not taking wear out. You might be able to make it, but that may be maybe a bridge too far there. But that is something to look out for, because that soft tyre does have quite a bit of an advantage here, Rody. We have seen drivers out there able to be quite a bit faster on that softer tyre, but I think the hard tyre probably going to be the pick of the tyres around here. But anyway, we'll move on to the driver's standings, because it has been quite a while, of course, since we've even spoken about this stuff. So Daniel Cox does lead the championship. Let me just double check and make sure that's completely updated. Yes, I do believe that's the updated one there. So yeah, Daniel Cox on 2,157 points. Probably say at this stage, Rody, if he is a trouble-free round, he's probably got one hand on the championship at this stage. His main competitor, Darren Campbell, obviously had a pretty shocking round there at Adelaide with some instances with Braxton Stancliffe there, and he just hasn't had the speed that he had in the first half of the season. He sort of dropped away a little bit there.
Yeah, no. So it's interesting how it's evolved over the last couple of rounds. It's very much been it very much started this season. we all did who was going to be leading this, and then as it evolved through, it became a consistency thing. I think at one point the leader was in a position where they were leading the championship despite having won none of the race. But then the outright pace sort of came back into it again, which is where you see Termo and Coxey rise up through. Kempy is still somewhat within Kui, but you really, I forget how many points are. There's enough points awarded for a night, but for the performances that you're seeing from the guys in the top 4 or 5, you need something pretty drastic to happen for Coxey and Termo, for Kempy and Cheese and Dane to be involved. But yeah, at this point, Coxey pretty healthy lead of just over 100 points, which is a race win clear. And yeah, like anything can happen between this round. It hasn't historically been a dangerous round to race in, the Pukekohe round. There's been little bits here and there, but nothing on the scale of, say, a street circuit. But obviously coming to the last round at Townsville, it's going to be a really good race, and that has potential. That track to be championship decider. We've raced there previously, and we've both been involved in some monumental shunts. So yeah, interesting. But no, the championship. Yeah, on the face of it, it's looking pretty healthy for Coxey, but nothing set in stone yet.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I have had my own experiences around this Pukekohe Park Raceway that it has affected the championship that I've been in. So hopefully that doesn't happen to any of our championship combatants tonight. Coming around the final corner, there was an incident in front of me with 2 people battling, and I was battling with Hobbo at the time, and I ended up with nowhere to go and except the B pillar of another car, and that was puncture damage, and that was pretty much championship over. So hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. But Coxey, he's got that win clear over Termo, who's been quite handy in the back half, pretty much since the mid part of the championship onwards. His consistency's been really, really good, but I think his start of the championship probably what may cost Termo the championship. Darren Campbell, of course, started pretty strongly. He was very consistent, fallen away. Cheese has been actually one that's been quite solid all season long, Rhodey, and right there behind his teammate Liccardo. A bit up and down, of course. He's had some penalty points as well thrown in. And same with the Red Bull guys. They've both been up and down, but find themselves in 6th and 7th. Taipan in 8th on 1,641. Matt Cecil on 1,638, with Freakish rounding out the top 10. I will bring up at some point. Actually, no, I might as well bring it up on my spreadsheet on my screen here. The full standing, so I can sort of just round out the top 20. So just bear with me for a moment. And of course, if there are any issues with the stream, please let us know in the chat as well. At the moment, it seems to be running okay, but of course, it's been fine at this point previously, Rhodey. It's usually when the races start is when it starts to go haywire. But yeah, just after Freakish, got Lockie Burke, who's not here this evening. Lockie Lock in 12th, Steve Warwick in 13th, then Nathan Higginson, Justin Cecil in 15th, Josh Watson in 16th, hashtag not last, with Brian Walsh 17th, who's not here this evening. And then we have Ben Hall, Zach Brown, Brapp, who's not racing for the remainder, or for the foreseeable future anyway. Gary Neville, Leonard Grossel, who's also not racing. Aiden, Damon Woods, who's not racing. McLean Leonard, not racing. And a number of other guys that probably not going to be racing again for the remainder of the season, rounding out the championship for the drivers. But what is going to be interesting here, Rhodey, the teams championship. There's 4 teams that all could win it here. Obviously, a bit of a 300-point gap down to 4th. But the way they've been going in Red Bull, the same with Nissan Motorsport too. Both those teams could find themselves with a good round or two a lot closer. Same with Tickford, but Brad Jones at the moment leading the way.
Yeah, and one of the good things we're seeing with the teams championship at this point, sort of prior to where Super 2 has been, is that we've got a lot of the guys, a lot of the teams have had stable drivers that have been running in them. So it's actually allowed them to accrue some representative points for the drivers involved, as opposed to, there's still been teams here and there, like Walking United is one good example. Berkey's had, I think, 3 or 4 different teammates at this point of the season, and he's himself isn't here tonight. And Garage Motorsport, another one. I think Higo's been in the 33 for the entire season, but he's had Pierre Roy, had a couple of drivers, I can't remember them off the top of my head, that have been through the sister car as well. But no, Brad Jones pretty stable at the top, obviously with Coxey and with I believe it's Taipan in the second car.
Yep.
Not necessarily as quick, but they're both really solid drivers to put in the car, and obviously Coxey leading the points, and Taipan's still there and thereabouts, so they're holding up pretty well. The second car, Tickford won, which is I believe that's Termo and Cecil. Again, second in the championship and another good top 10 runner. And then it's Motorsport number 2, which is Freakish and I believe Cheese. So again, top 3 runner and consistent points runner. So yeah, like the one that's probably the most balanced team out there, just based on positioning, is the Red Bull team, because at the moment Braxton and Thrower sit line of stern in the drivers' championship. But no, it's these ones are going to final as well, because it's less about single driver performance. It's it very much helps to have a teammate, and it's one of those situations still where it can be a case of not having the outright pace, whereas just as long as you can keep rocking up each round and keep accruing points, it helps your own points standing as a whole. But you might only scrape a top 10 in the points, but if you've got a good teammate, then the pair of you can have a crack at the team title.
Yeah, I think what has been a deciding factor, especially with Brad Jones being at the top, obviously you've got Coxey leading the Drivers' Championship, which always helps, but Taipan's always been finishing. We have seen with the Red Bull team and with some of the Nissan and Tickford teams is when they've had a bad round, they've had a driver not finish the race or finish, well down the field, which has cost them, some valuable points there. So the remainder of the races, I'd say the team that finished it, well, you want to be finishing every single race tonight and at the final round as well at Townsville, just to give your team the best opportunity to win the championship. Because if you have a DNF there, and let's say, Coxey or Taipan has a DNF, if the Red Bull team or Tickford Racing 1, if both their drivers finish and one of them finishes, fairly high up, or maybe they both finish in the top 5 or top 10, you could find that gap, coming down quite a significant amount. So that is going to be something that will play a part here, and attrition could well decide this championship. But as we see there, 4 teams within a shout of the overall teams title. We've got DJR Team Penske in 5th there. They've got a bit of a gap over Nissan Motorsport 1. And then again, bit of a gap to Walkinshaw and Dready United, who's had obviously Lockie Burke been in and out of the team due to real life karting commitments. And again, as you mentioned earlier, he's out there tonight down there. Was it Coffs Harbour?
Coffs Harbour, yep.
So we do wish him the best this weekend, and hope he does well. And then we've got Matt Stone Racing. Of course, that's just the Dane Licata car, I believe. And then Gary Rogers Motorsport, which has had a various number of drivers, and same with Erebus Motorsport, which has had, I think, 6 or 7 drivers just about go through that team.
Yep, sounds about right.
But yeah, going to be very interesting, the Teams Championship as well. The Drivers' Championship, of course, probably going to go to Coxey. But again, you never know in this game, Rudy. But the session has ticked over, I believe.
Yep.
And we're just about to get underway here for qualifying. So I'm just going to bring up HUD once again, and then I'm going to go and try and cycle my way through and find who's at the end of the pit lane.
That would be Termo, and for all those in the comments or in the live stream that are on board the Termo train, Termo is leading the Termo train as he's the first car out on track for qualifying. And
I think once again we're over 20 cars here, so just over 20 cars. So a lot of drivers for me to go and cycle through there, but he'll be hoping that he's the first one to go out there and set a lap time. He does lead the queue away. And I think, is that Cheese or Freakish in that Nissan? I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's Freakish behind, and then I believe that's one of the GRM cars, which possibly, yes, it is Nathan Dickinson.
Yeah, so there is 2 different banners I've noticed on the 2 GRM cars. There's one, the 33 car has the pace, which is occupied by...
Darren Longan.
Yep, and then the one that has Wilson Security on the banner is occupied by Higo. But Termo will be the first man to go out there and set a lap time. Actually, right on board old Hamburger Cam here, and just go through a lap of the Pukekohe Park Raceway circuit. So you start your lap pretty early here. That final corner, you don't want to muck that up. So that will be something to look out for. Big bump here through turn number 1. You want to, well, not run too wide there because you've got a quick chicane just after that. Drivers complaining of track cuts there, so look out for that in qualifying and the race. And then almost a continuous corner there through turn number 4. And the long back stretch, which starts to bowl a little bit here before this new chicane that was brought in what was it, 2013, I believe?
I feel like it might have been a little early, but yeah, about that time.
And he's through there nice and smooth. And then to the hairpin. A little bit of curb use and a little bit sideways there. Car looking just a little bit lazy. And not using all the road on the exit there out of the hairpin. And then again, look out for the bump here at the penultimate corner. There it is right there. And then a couple more bumps here in the final corner. But you've got to try and carry as much speed through here as you can. And Termo will go to the line. 103.5, Rudy. That's a very handy start.
Yeah, it's one of the things that throws you off around this track is we've seen from the Hamburger Cam, it's just how fast this place is. But no, 103.5, not a bad start from Termo. And look, it's hard to tell at that point whether that's just a banker on softs or whether he's out there on the hards. Again, he is one of the drivers that's proven to be good on the tyre conservation, so it could go either way. Coxey's second with a 103.8. And then Freakish is another 3/10 back from there.
And Termo's up again in the first sector. What's it going to be here in the second sector? And he's up again. So quite handy here, old Termo. And now just the final complex to go. Got Freakish in third, Thrower in fourth with Lock in fifth. Number of drivers still yet to have set a lap time. And to the line goes Termo and a 103.2 here, Rody, which if he's doing that on the hard tyre, he's going to be a difficult man to beat tonight. But I reckon he may be on the soft.
Yeah, it is pushing the upper limit of hard tyre pace if that's on a hard tyre. As I mentioned, he can conserve the tyre, and he's a patient driver on a motor car. So, look, he could be playing the game on the softs, and I mean the position where he's at. I don't blame him with more than a win between him and first. He needs to do something a little different in his last 2 rounds to have a chance to bite in on that. But we'll see how the rest of the qualifying goes.
And we've had Peter Thrower jump up to second place at his home circuit. And cut to him there. He almost rolled it there at going through turn 3 and 4 there. Also had Darren Kemp move up into fourth place, and he's gone a little bit quicker again here. So I reckon some drivers may just be taking a chance, running the soft tyre, and then just backing it off in the race. Maybe they're going to try that strategy, or perhaps people that just wouldn't surprise me as well. People have just found a heap of time now and just going a lot better on the hard tyre. But here comes Kemp to the line, and he sneaks himself up into fourth place, and he's immediately bested by championship leader Daniel Cox on a 103.4. So some pretty handy times out there. But one man that was very, very quick in practice, as we've got a bit of a wreck there on the pit straight there. But one man that was very quick in practice, and of course it is his home circuit, is Braxton Stancliffe, who I was looking for, and he's just gone to the top of the timesheets on a 103.1, and he's only 2/10 away, or 2 or 3/10 away. I think his best was 102.8.
It was a 2.8.
So he's not far away, and that'd have to be soft tyre running.
I'd say so. Like he's had some really good pace, and he's been putting in a lot of practice around here. But if Termo is pushing the echelon of hard tyres, then Braxton's got to be in soft territory. So I reckon we can kind of see the gap already. I think the top 7 at the moment are running the soft tyre, because it's a pretty healthy gap back from Freakish to Taipan. Although that said, it has come down a little bit with some of the drivers improving. I still think that might be the cutoff though. And what we're seeing is sort of, again, that sort of top championship running group are the guys that are trying the softs, do something different. And race one is normally the experimental race in these nights anyway, because people do know and they don't know when it seems that it's easy to conserve tyres during a race than you feel like you're doing practice, and somehow it lasts longer. So I think a couple of these guys, a couple of the key combatants to this championship, especially those who have got rivals that are doing it as well. In the case of Coxie and Turmo are both look like they're on the softs. They're all going to try a gamble, and if it pays off, it pays off, and if it doesn't, then somebody from outside the top 10 might win race one today. Before they see the results come home to nest, and they realise, we can't make this work, and then we sort of go back to the regular running order for the next two races.
And we've got a little bit of a battle pack there, but I'm just going the wrong way, actually. But Peter Thrower, he's gone purple in the first sector. He's lost a bit of time in the middle sector here, but he's up 3/10 on his own time here. So we're 1-2 in practice, 888, with Stancliffe and Thrower. And a little bit squirrely on the exit of the final turn, but and he's lost all that time, which he'll be a bit annoyed with himself with. But Peter Thrower here doing a very good job. He's qualified well in some other rounds and then has fallen away, but I reckon he'll be extra focused tonight, being his home circuit out here. So if he can just find that or keep that time that he gained in the first two sectors and just not bolt in the final sector, could see a lockout with Red Bull on the front row. But cut to Daniel Cox, and he's got traffic galore in front of him. I think he's just left the pits. He's on an outlap. But still, he's got 3 cars in front of him that he'll probably have to back off and give himself some space to make sure that he doesn't get held up on his flying run here, Rody.
Yeah, it's not one of the circuits we think of as being a circuit that we're going to see a lot of this sort of cluster in qualifying. Like, Simmons and Barbagallo, the two that come to mind. But we've proven, IRL, it's been proven that Adelaide has had those issues at time to time with big grid numbers, and we're not exceeding what supercars run around here, but it's just the ferocity of people coming out in the session, probably the relative shortness of the session as well for the length of the lap and how much people trying to get running in here, that, they're able to pick their time. And we're getting to the point now where people are going to want to get out for their last lap runs. So Coxie's lucky. He's got a pretty healthy gap to the cars in front. He's managed to hold off far enough, and he's got far enough behind him that he was able to do that without impeding on anyone else. And yeah, we should have a pretty clean representative run for this lap.
And he's up 2/10 on his own time, but he got a little bit sideways between turn 3 and 4 there. So he's given himself a nice amount of space, but we have had Braxton improve just moments ago. He's gone under the 103 mark there. But Coxie would just be looking to get himself ahead of at least Turmo here. But significant improvement in his first sector, and he's not very far away from Stancliffe there in the first sector. But what can he do here? Second split, and he's actually lost a little bit of time, but he's only 1/10 away. So it looks like, looking at those sector times, he actually made a mistake on his last flying lap here in the final sector here. Either that or Braxton's just mega. But here we go. Nice and smooth through the final complex. And he does improve, but doesn't improve in the position column, which is what he was looking for. He'll go again, but this will be his final run. And I got Turmo. He'll be out there going to start his final run. But just keep it on the start-finish line here. We'll be able to see who's going to start a lap on it. So that's Steve Warwick. And that's Peter Thrower crossing the line. We've got a group of 3 cars, which has Kemp at the back, and then Braxton Stancliffe as Turmo improves in the first sector. So Higginson will be the last man to be on a timed lap here. Turmo is in the pit, so he must have picked up a track cut. Coxie has ran wide at the hairpin here, but he'll still be looking for more time. No, he's going back to the pit. So what can Peter Thrower do here? Can he sneak himself up a spot or two? So we get to second sector, and sort of drifts it in there with a bit of compression lock from the downshifts. And he's 2/10 away from a PB. He's going to finish the lap, but I don't think he's going to improve here, Rody. But so looking all good here for Braxton Stancliffe to claim pole position at his home circuit. And to the line thrower, he actually did improve quite a lot there in the final sector. He would be kicking himself if he didn't nail the first two. So if he put his best sectors together, he'd probably find himself on the front row with his teammate. He actually set a purple final sector. But still, good effort there. Peter Thrower, he'll qualify in 4th. Kemp's in the pits in 5th. And, might as well just run through the grid here while we're at it here, Rhodey. So why don't you run us through what has been set here in this qualifying session?
All right, so 6th is Cheese, 7th will be Freakish, 8th is Aiden, and those two drivers both snuck up there in the last little bit, from what I can see. 9th is Ben Hall, he's jumped up as well in the last couple of minutes, with Taipan in 10th. Josh Watson up in 11th. That's a good run. He's a local 2 from memory, so hashtag not last. Definitely doing well.
It's one of his
qualifying
best efforts in qualifying for the year there, so well done.
I think so. So Lockie Lock in 12th, Zach Brown in 13th, Nathan Higginson ending up 14th. They didn't improve on his last run. Steve Warwick in 15th, Justin Cecil in 16th, Matt Cecil in 17th, newcomer Laszlo Teglis in 18th, Darren Longan in 19th, Thomas Cole back in Super 2 in 20th, and Melody Smith in 21st. And we did lose one driver from that session at one point. I forget, Damian
Kelly, yep.
Damian Kelly. So he'll be starting off at the back of the grid.
Yeah, so he may have been a little bit spooked there because he's got a vehicle collision mismatch, which just one of those G-motor engine things. Happens in R-Factor, happens in AMS, but we do allow that mismatch actually to happen so people don't get booted for vehicle collision mismatch. I can't tell you why that happened, and I've been around the engine for about 15 years, so yeah, just one of those things. But hopefully he does jump back in. But yeah, very interesting qualifying session there. I do reckon there's a number of drivers here though, Rody, that are on the hard tyres. So I know Nathan Higginson from the running that he was doing in practice was hard tyre. Matt Cecil as well. He was another one that was adamant that the soft tyre could not last, and same with Justin Cecil. So I'd expect those guys maybe in the second half of the race to have that race just come to them a little bit, as maybe guys on the soft tyre do start to fall away a little bit. So that will be something to look out for. Whether those guys on the hard tyres in the early part of the race can just weather the storm, and then in the second part of the race just sort of work their way forward in the race as people's tyres do start to fall off. But if you do have to pit in this race though, Rhodey, you're not going to be finishing in the top 10, I wouldn't imagine, unless everyone pits.
Yeah, and the last time we had everyone pit, it was not for tyres. So I don't see. You're out there on hards. You can run your own race and just run as hard as you want to. The guys on softs. Well, this is going back about a week or so, but in conversations with Braxton, soft tyres were something like a lap short from memory on making the full distance. So it wasn't like they were going to pop 2 corners from the end. They were popping sort of through turn 1 coming onto the last lap, or coming out of the last corner coming onto the last lap, which is just not serviceable in a race scenario. So that said, that was a week ago. He's had the time to sit down and work on it and sort of just slave on the car and figure out whether it's a setup thing or whether it's a driving style thing or whether it's just the intensity needs to be wound back. But the amount of drivers that seem to have banked on the softs from the pace we've seen in qualifying and sort of where we expect the hard soft cutoff to be in qualifying pace. Yeah, enough people either done the maths to figure it out, or enough people are just choosing to roll the dice.
Yeah, so going to be very, very interesting here. It's a little bit of a 5-minute while here. I'm just going to go grab myself another drink as I struggle to speak. Just have a short 1 or 2 minute break as I get myself a drink, and if Brady needs to get himself one too as well. So we'll be back in a moment. I'll actually bring up on the screen just what's going out on the circuit. So we'll be back in a minute's time. Don't go anywhere. We've got 3 races of Super 2 action to come. All right, and as you can hear, we are back. I am back. Rody's still not back yet from his break. I've cracked open a cold one, and hopefully it's going to be a race like an a round where we can put our drinks up and celebrate as some fantastic racing, hopefully. And as some of you may have noticed, we have got Dan Liccardo has actually jumped in the server. So he did put in that he may be late and miss the first race, and then he put in that he may even miss all of the races. But it's good to see that he's able to get himself out there, albeit with lack of practice. But expect him to do okay, and that sounds like Rody is making his way back to the commentary box.
Yep. It's been a while since I last did this, and I forgot how much water you go through doing this.
Yeah,
but
you do need to keep those liquids up, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
As was just saying there, Rody, that we've got Dan Liccardo has actually jumped into the server, latecomer. So he'll start from the back of the field. Hopefully he can have a nice clean run there in the Sol VF Commodore, which, I might as well make, for those that are listening along, that may be either Super 2 drivers that, are missing this round due to other commitments, or you're unwell, or, your rig's falling apart like mine, the VF Commodore will be making a comeback, Rody, but it's not the only car that's going to be making a comeback next year in what is going to be a bit of a revamped Supercars or Super 2 season. So might as well bring it out here now. The drivers that are out there on the circuit that are in the server, if they're not listening to this, they will not know anything about it. So the only people that do know are those that I've spoken to about it in the admin crew. And even then, it's not even all of them. But it's going to be rebadged as the ASR Development Series. Of course, the FGX will still be present. The VF Commodore will be present. There'll be no more ZBs. There will be Nissans, and the Nissan Ultimate. But there's also going to be, Rody, the VE Commodore and the FG Falcon, as we see Lockie Lock roll over there as they practice their starts. But revamped Dev series with VE and FG Commodores. And at the same point, why would we do that? As well as having the Nissan in there and possibly even the Mercedes. But we'll see about that one. But, and the rebadge as the development series, there's going to be an added class. So drivers that, maybe a little bit more casual or, don't feel as confident, there will be a Super 3 class added into the series. So it's not just going to be a Super 2 championship. There will be Super 2 and Super 3 just to encourage guys that, maybe... Ooh, Ricardo just a bit over-enthusiastic into the pit lane there. Just so drivers that aren't quite as confident or aren't quite as fast, they just want to have a little bit more enjoyment and have their own people to race within their own class, they're going to have that there for them. So there is going to be that Super 3 class with car-specific VE and FGs for them. It'll make it a little bit easier when they're commentating instead of just giving them a different coloured banner over the top. So that will be something to look out for the drivers for next year, with some good models going out there. But Rody, we've just ticked over to the race. 23 cars now. It's a lot of cars around this circuit. Maybe I reckon there will be traffic for the front runners in this one. But hard tyre versus soft tyre. Who's going to win this one? And at the same point, who's going to make the soft tyre last in this one, Rody?
Yeah, so those out here on softs, as I said, these guys they're not new to this. They've been pushing the time conservation for a while across the rounds of this championship. So if they're confident on the softs, I feel confident in backing them. But I can't. I feel confident in backing them, but I'm not going to see them put money on it either. I'm still not confident from what I'm hearing that the tyres are going to make it, but again, I haven't been, most in the loop on this. Obviously, having not driven one of these for since the start of the season. I'm not privy to some of that conversation, but look, if the tyres can last, probably looking at Turmo. If the tyres aren't going to last, I think we're really looking outside the top 10. I think maybe Taipan might be the first of the runners not on what we suspect to be the soft compound. So, be a good win for Taipan, but
who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, so going to be a very intriguing race, of course, and drivers that are on the soft tyre are going to have to make it last, and they're going to have to drive it straight when it's really worn out. So that's going to be something to look out for. But we've got a very short lap here, Rhodey, and a lot of cars to get through. So I'll just go through and do this one, but you can do races 2 and 3 for us here. So Braxton Stancliffe at his home circuit in Shane Van Gisbergen's car with a very fancy looking new rig for him as well. He'll start from pole position with Turmo alongside him. He'll be hoping to stay ahead of Coxie in third to close down the championship points. Peter Thrower, great effort in qualifying for him, but it could have been that little bit better. So he'll be hoping the race goes well for him here. Darren Kemp in 5th place. Cheese in P5 with Freakish in 7th with another Nissan. All the Nissans all in a row there with Aiden there in 8th place. Then we have Ben Hall in P9 for Team Cool Drive, followed by Taipan rounding out the top 10. Josh Watson, hashtag not last. He'll start from 11th in this one. Solid effort from him. And then we have Lockie Lock in 12th. Zach Brown in 13th. Nathan Higginson in 14th place with Steve Warwick starting in 15th. Justin Cecil finishing or qualifying just ahead of his Relo right there in 17th in Matt Cecil, new owner of a Hyundai XL. Hopefully it doesn't end up like those ones at Phillip Island that me and Hans saw a few months ago. Leslo Teglas, he'll start from 18th place. Very late come out to this one. Hopefully he goes well. I think he's from the IVRC community, I think, off the top.
I believe so, yes.
So it's good to see him out there. Darren Lachlan in 19th place. I'll find out how to pronounce his name at some point. Thomas Cole will start from 20th. Melody Smith will start from the pits and is very close to the line there. Hopefully he doesn't go over the pit line there and get DQ'd. But we've got Damian Kelly in 22nd down the pit straight, or back straight there.
He's in the chicane. I'm about the replay a
he's
long way.
disappeared.
He's been there a while.
He's disappeared, so it looks like game issues there for Damian Kelly, which is a bit of a shame. But nothing we can do about here, so we may have a little bit of a delayed start here. No, he's in fact disappeared there, so unfortunate for him. Hopefully they can make race 2, but the lights are on. Away we go. No jump starts. Fantastic start from Turbo on the inside. A big set of 11s, though, as we go. But through turn 1 they come. They go too wide, but that second phase there, not kind to Turmo. Braxton in the lead, and now the tricky chicane.
Yeah, I can see a couple of guys running wide already. You can do that around here. There's room to run off, but it's still a very tight section. But it seems we got most of them through pretty safe. Everyone's holding order pretty well, and Coxie right up on the back of Tomo already. Yeah,
Tomo warming his tyres there. Cox is just like, I just want your position. So he's going to put it up the inside there. Tomo going to hold it around the outside. You can do that at the hairpin. But Braxton with a clear lead, and Cox straight around the outside of the second part of the chicane there. Tomo is too kind to him. And Kempy now looking to make a move as well. And Tomo going to have to try and hold on around the outside. He's got the slightly better drive. And he'll get that, he'll hold on there. But he's cost himself a bit of time there. But vital that he stays ahead of Kemp, because we know he's a very difficult man to pass. But Braxton leads after the first lap. And then we have Coxie, Turmo, Kemp, Cheese, Freakish. Peter Thrall's dropped a few spots. Taipan up a couple. Ben Hall, Lockie Lock, Higginson, Aiden, Licardo's up 10 spots. Justin Cecil, Josh Watson, Steve Warwick, Matt Cecil, Laszlo Teglas, Darren Lachlan, and Thomas Cole.
Yeah, Zach Brown pitting already, so I'm not sure if he picked up some damage there or, I don't know, some of the wrong tyres for his strategy. I don't know, but he's already in the pits. And Melody Smith got out of the pits while she's running around at the back. And
you got the two Nissans. You got the two Nissans battling outside to cut you off there. Kemp very defensive. She's looking to get a move done here. And there's another one. I think he's him. He's one of his home tracks as well. A number of Kiwis in the field, and Kemp had the better run through the chicane. and now he's looking to put Termo under pressure. So it's a bit of yin and yang already here, Rhodey, and up and down throughout a number of these positions. But even in this leading pack, a lot of drivers looking like they're trying to adjust their pace on the fly and also make their tyres last.
Yeah, like the way they're battling would suggest that they're comfortable on their tyres, but from what I'm hearing, they shouldn't be. Cheese up the inside now on Kempy. He's not got that quite set yet, although he has broken late. He's driven around the outside of Kempy through turn 2, and he's held him off through turn 3 and 4. So that's another pass done for Cheese. He's up now to 4th place. On Braxton's pace, though, he's either really bloody confident on his tyres, or he's expecting something to go wrong and will have to really back off pace, and he's building up a cushion to go ahead of. So, still got to see how this race goes. Pete Throw a move up the inside of Freakish there on the way into the hairpin as well.
Yeah, so he's just a little bit further back there, but that was really good driving actually earlier between Kemp and Cheese there through that first complex. Difficult to get through there on your own, let alone side by side. They both gave each other space, able to get through there cleanly. But I think another reason, Rhodey, why Braxton Stancliffe getting away, he did make up a bit of that time on the first lap. But you've also got Coxie, sort of driving in his mirrors a little bit with Termo right behind. But I also think that he may be just conserving his tyres just a little bit more. So 104.3 plays a 104.0 between first and second there. Cox with the 104.3. And Braxton there coming up to Zach Brown to lap. And after Cheese has gotten by Darren Kemp, he's actually started to zero in onto the back of Termo here. But just cycling a little bit further back, Ricardo up into 10th spot already. So he's made up another 3 spots since we last spoke about him. Yes, we've got Nathan Hickinson on the grass. And Steve Warwick is another one, I believe. He's up 2 spots as well. And he's got Nathan Higginson right behind him. So already some moves and shakers as Matt Cecil and Aiden side by side into the chicane. Aiden can try and hold on around the outside. He'll have the inside for the next part of the chicane. And Cecil with the better drive on the outside gets that job eventually done. And Aiden on the grass there. You don't want to be there. That's how you lose control and spear into the car in front. But able to hold on to it, thankfully. But got another car in the pits there, Rhodey, I can hear. Maybe Zach Brown again.
Yeah, it is. So, I don't know what's happening with Zach. I don't know whether he's on his... Well, to be in again, he didn't pick up a penalty for speeding. If he's on quality fuel load, he would have fixed that in the first stop. That said, he does appear to be doing a drive-through. I don't... Oh, he might be doing a drive-through to clear the cars behind him. He might be doing just running to the pit lane to make sure he's safely letting the cars through, because he's cleared the bulk of the traffic. He's just got Darren Long and around to lap him now. So that's probably why he's done it. And
did do a V8 supercars there and cut to a replay showing Peter Thrower getting by Kemp as they make contact at the hairpin there. But Kemp had got himself back ahead of Peter Thrower and they were still battling. So yeah, a bit of a V8 supercars Fox Sports style production here. And that
something else we missed in that as well was, I think Tomo ran wide at the hairpin, and he's now back to 4th.
Yeah, Termo had also got himself back up into 2nd out of all that as well. So what has happened here? So he'd looked to make a move on the replay here on Coxie and just didn't pull it up and elected to just go across the chicane there, and he gave those positions back. So smart driving, but Cheese here, the man on the move. Looks like Stancliffe, he does have traffic in front of him again there, but I do reckon he's backed off. But a couple laps ago, we did have Thrower 103.7, so he's not... he's having a big crack out there. He's looking to get back up there as he forces a mistake from Kemp. Does the old up and under, and he's got P6, but he's got his countryman right in front of him now. He's got to get himself back ahead of Freakish so he can set his sights on the Termo, Cheese, and Cox battle as Melody Smith tries her best to get out of the way. And again, got another car in the pits I can hear as well. So who is that? I'll just try and have a look.
That's Thomas Cole in the pits. Yes. So I'm not sure, again, maybe getting out of the way, I don't know. But a lot more pit use than I thought I'd see at this point of the race.
Yeah, certainly. And, Braxton Stancliffe at 105, so he's lost a lot of time on that last lap. Did have some lap traffic, but I do also reckon probably just pacing himself just to try and save the tyre. The guys behind him certainly don't look like they're saving their tyres. We've got Termo and Cheese there A little bit sideways coming out of turn 4, but they've got a bit of breathing room now to Peter Thrower and Freakish behind. But second, third, and fourth here, very close. In fact, they've made up a bit more time on Braxton here on this lap. I wonder if Braxton's just having to do a little bit more saving here, because that gap has come down quite a bit.
Yeah, just going to have a look at the live timing now. It's asrleague.liveRaces.com for those that want to keep track. Yeah, track cut there for Coxie in the current lap. So we haven't got a representative time for him, but yeah, he's lost a couple of
half a second.
He's lost quite a bit of time, Braxton there. So yeah, I'd say like he's possibly got his pace out early, and now he's just trying to measure the tyres, because if they're all playing for the same, if all the top 4 or 5 are playing for the same tyres,
change of position for P5. So Thrower has forced a mistake from Freakish. He's got the job done, but in the background there, Dane Liccardo up into 9th, and only finds himself 8 seconds off the lead after starting at the back of the field. But I do reckon he must be on the soft tyre, and he's probably using quite a bit of it to get himself up there. But Taipan, who we speculate may be on the hard tyre, if he is, he could be in a great position later on in this race. But I'll let you continue now.
Yeah. No, it's I was leading into something. I think I'd covered most of it anyway. No, you're right. Taipan is sitting in a really good position at the moment. If he is on the hards, and we don't know that. But Dane is quick, but that's going to be a soft tyre run. You're seeing something? Yeah,
Coxie's been held up by Thomas Cole coming out of the final corner, and it's cost him time there. He had to get out of it, and because of the space... Oh, and he's made contact! He's made contact with Cheese, and Termo says, thank you very much. It's just one of those unfortunate things, I think. Accidental, but it's cost them both dearly. And Coxie there, he lost out a bit from the lap traffic in Thomas Cole through the final corner. He'd lost that momentum, and because there was a bit of a gap, Cheese was able to keep his foot planted and getting the move done down the pit straight there, but then contact there into turn 1. So that may need to be looked at post-race, but it certainly cost them both time. And that's elevated all these guys. And Peter Thrower now finds himself in 3rd place. But behind him, very angry battle pack with Freakish, Darren Kemp, Taipan, and Dane Liccardo, who's looking to make a move on Taipan at the hairpin.
Oh, bit of contact there.
A little bit of a bump. But could also argue there wasn't really too much space left either. He'd made his presence known early. He was going to make that pass. Yeah, just one of those things, I think. Taipan maybe a little bit grumpy with that one, but is part of the, I guess, touring car theme. But,
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing as well. With if Taipan is sitting on the hards, which we're kind of hoping and believing he is, by all means, just let Dane go and do his own thing, because at the pace Dane's doing, he's more than likely on softs, and he's going to fall off pretty quickly anyway. So Taipan's going to, unless the tyres are going a way that we're not going, or thinking them going, then Taipan's going to have the strength in the end.
Well, even if he's on the soft tyres, Taipan, just not battling will save his tyres. Well, Dane, as we've seen, is driving very aggressively and will be using up quite a bit of his tyres. But up to P5 now, good drive so far. But big gap for Braxton Stancliffe now, 3.8 ahead of Termo. Termo now 2 seconds ahead of Peter Thrower. It's about a second ahead of Freakish. So still plenty of racing to go here. We don't know what the tyre situation is going to be like. I do expect here, Rhodey, that probably the last 3 or 4 laps, I do expect there to be drivers probably running off the road and having some spins coming out of corners, as they've just got no rubber left on their tyres. As we see Dane just forward drifting it through turn 1.
Well, yeah, just looking through all the drivers, their last lap versus their best, the top 6, 7, 8, they're all a second off of their best time set in this session. So potentially all of them actually then on softs. And as we mentioned, Taipan just not making as big a fuss of being on those softs. But yeah, I'd say a lot of these guys down the time conservation phase, different ways of going about it though. Dane's still looking to make moves here as opposed to the others around him that are just trying to hold station and get the tyres back into that window at the end of the race, that they can then have another crack at it with the last sort of lap or 2 to go. It has sort of quieted down a little bit. Braxton at this point has got a near on the 3-second lead, which is pretty healthy. Another 104.5 for him there versus a 104.1 for Termo, 104.3 for Pete Thrower. So Termo's biting into that a little bit, but not any sort of significant rate at this point. You'd need the tyre wear on Braxton's car to be significantly more advanced over Termo's, for Termo to bite into that. Speaking of drivers making moves, I see Dan McCann in the background there trying to put a move on Freakish out of turn 4.
Yeah, so I was just having a look down the back of the field where we've got Josh Watson in 11th having a really good run, having a battle with Lockie Lock down there. Steve Warwick not too far away. I expect all those guys down there to be on the harder of the tyres. And Nathan Higginson's actually just completely gone, so I don't know what's happened to him, but he finds himself a fair way down, perhaps even out of the race. I can't see. But Licata now right behind Freakish, and also got Type Band closing in on the back, in the background of Darren Campbell. Got yellows in sector 1, and that's Thomas Cole that's just parked there at the final corner, and he's reversing out of the way, and he's doing the smart thing, waiting for a gap, and he's going to have to get it going pretty quick here because he's got some cars coming up on him, and well, everyone's able to get out of there alive, thankfully. Because that is not a place where you it's blind and it's fast. You don't want to come up to a car that has gone off the road and is pointed in the wrong direction there. So thankfully everyone lives to fight another day there. But got Freakish has closed a little bit on Peter Thrower here, but he's also got Licata right behind him. I've got our pit lane reporter Rossi down there saying that supposedly I think Licato's got the best tyre life out of everyone so far in the top 5. So if that's the case, then he could be the one to look out for. Up in front, though, Termo's cut that gap down to 2 seconds. I'm looking at on the timing screens there as well. Also got Coxie and Cheese back at it as well. So got spot fires everywhere, Rhodey. Don't know where to look.
No, there's always little 2-car bails that are popping up. And yeah, you know, Coxie and Cheese, they really need to focus. It's late in the race. They need to focus on getting the pair of them further up the standing order, get up to the positions of Taipan and Campion up that way, rather than fighting over things themselves. Another yellows. So that's
that's Melody Smith, and again, awkward spot, just reversing away from the racing line, but into the into the wall though. Also seeing that Braxton front left is at 33% at the moment, as Licata looking at Freakish, and he's just going to get the job done, but he's going to have to go the long way, and he gets the job done there. Seen a number of drivers actually just hang on around the outside, second part of the chicane down there, because they just get that better drive coming out of it. So about a second and a half between Licata and a podium position, but the gap between first and second, 1.8 seconds. Peter Throw's also been gaining, but what I was saying, Braxton, 33% at lap 14 was his front left, 107.0 on that last lap, a 106.9 for Termo, 105.3 for Peter Thrower. I do think there was some lap traffic involved in that, I'm guessing. Perhaps they were a bit closer to Melody Smith when she had her incident, and that's why they dropped time. But there you go. There's the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
I mean, to back up what Rossi's reporting about Dane's tyre life, he did a 104.4 that lap through, which is the same sort of pace the guys around him were doing 5 laps ago. So I don't know how he's got it, but if he has got the best tyre life on that car, then he doesn't have too many laps left, but he is starting to bite in, and just because the guys in front of him are doing that slow or trying to get their tyres to the end, then we could see I'm not sure he started last, but an effective last of first here.
It was last.
It was last. All right, so it's been done before, but it's been a while since we've last seen one.
And 1.1 seconds, and across the line, 1 second, 105.0, 104.3. So Termo close to his personal best. So still meat on those tyres. In the teams championship, though, still very interesting with Coxie having his error. An incident with Cheese dropping him down a few spots is looking good for Triple Eight at the moment, but Taipan is doing a good job, and they're not going to drop too many points with Coxie still down in 8th, with both the Brad Jones cars 7th and 8th there. But looking good for Rebel to close those points down, but Throw will be hoping that he can hold on here with a few laps to go. but still good points here. Even if he finishes fourth and Braxton finishes in second in this one, they're still going to pick up a number of points on Brad Jones here. And of course, Turmo, he'll want to get himself into the lead to bring that gap down between himself and Coxie for the championship here. So it's going to be very interesting. Also seeing that there's drivers that are also tight on fuel here, Rody. So maybe some fuel saving for some of these drivers coming into it as well.
Well, all I can say is they can't blame me, because I was actually going to do some laps to give them some fuel numbers that, unlike 2 years ago, would have actually got them to the... last year would have got them to the end, but they've gone and done it themselves, so they're going to blame me, but they can't blame me because I wasn't involved this time.
Yeah, you didn't say anything this time. I'm seeing a 10% better tyre life for Dane compared to the rest of them at the moment. So, looking good tyre-wise, but he is starting to run out of time. He is close, though. Thrower doing a good job. And is he blowing the engine?
Oh, just around there for
he's safe.
Dane as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was on board with him at the time, and the car went very, very quiet. So I don't know if he's trying to save fuel and he's just muffed it, or he's doesn't seem to be driving normally here. So Thrower looking good here for third, barring a mistake.
Yeah, I think what's happened here is because he hasn't had a chance to run in any significant time in the warm-up, he hasn't had a chance to see the predicted fuel numbers versus the actual fuel numbers, and has made a slight error in his calculation somewhere, and this is what we're seeing. So actually, now it's actually going the other way, and Freakish and Kempy are looking pretty good, depending on how dire Dane's fuel is.
And we've got it's Thomas Cole around there, exit of turn 4. It's Kemp and Freakish duking it out. They're not too far away, but they've dropped actually Taipan a little bit. He was a bit of a threat to those guys a few laps ago. But Taipan, he's had one of his best runs pace-wise for the season, so it's good to see him doing well out there. At Kemp now flying the blowtorches to the back of Freakish here. And he's close enough for a dive at the hairpin. Freakish is going to have to keep an eye for it, and he does. Goes defensive, so smart driving there. We just cut ahead to the lead where Braxton Stancliffe, it's his old man's birthday, and Braxton got the gift of a nicely wrapped rig, and he's going to come home and take a win on home soil in race number 1. Turmo not far away in second. Good for his championship hopes there. Close the gap. Great result for Peter Thrower. I think that's his best result of the season. Also on home soil. Great run from him in third. Liccardo last to fourth. We'll be ruining that late mistake. And then we have Freakish and Kemp in fifth and sixth. Taipan in seventh in a good run and good showing from him. Coxie, uncharacteristic mistake, or couple mistakes in this one, sees him finishing eighth, but still well ahead in the championship standings. Cheese home in ninth on home soil. Ben Hall home in 10th, with Lockie Lock getting the better of Josh Watson in that battle there late on in this one. Steve Warwick home in 13th. Aiden home in 14th, with Justin Cecil 15th. Matt Cecil in 16th, with Darren Laughlin home in 17th place. And I think that's his first run in Super 2.
That is, yes.
Laszlo Teglas in his first run home in 18th. His first run here in Super 2 as well, with very little practice. Good to see him out there giving it a crack, only a lap down there. Zach Brown home in 19th. We did see he had an early pit stop or two. Melody Smith in 20th. Thomas Cole in 21st. And Nathan Higginson at DNF. So I'm not sure what happened to Higo there. Just actually have a quick squiggle around his car and see if there's any damage on it. But looks like his car's okay. So perhaps he's had a game disconnect or blew an engine or something. We'll have to find out after the event. But a good start for the Kiwis in this one.
Yeah, and I'm not too surprised with that. This being the home track, a lot of them, and there's a lot of them that have put a practice in. A couple of others that sort of made infrequent appearances that were definitely going to be here for this round. But no, a really good showing for the Kiwis, and I mean this is actually also, I suppose, their anniversary, because this is one of the first times we had the Kiwi invasion in what was AMS Oz at the time, because our Pukekohe round was announced. It was run, I think, in about a week or two after most of Australia and New Zealand got its first lockdown, which is what brought a big influx of drivers to sim racing generally, and a good amount here. And it's where all the Kiwis jumped on board. So it's good to sort of come back to that anniversary with them as well. But no, some really good pace for some of the Kiwis at the moment, and yeah, we were sort of I'm sales proven wrong with where I thought the tyres were going to go, and a couple of people a bit short on fuel, which 18 lap race didn't think it was possible, but yeah, you roll the dice sometimes, and just seeing from in the comments, Higo, his net just dropped with no notice. So whether maybe some bad weather happening down his way or what's happened, I don't know. But it sounds like the fact he's commenting means he should be back for race 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has been having some net problems of late, so that that will probably explain some of it, particularly after the weather that we had. We had some storms down here in Victoria about a week or so ago, week and a half. It's on the Thursday night last. Not this week that's just gone, but the previous week. So obviously that's why I missed GD3, and Higo was out of action for a few days there as well, I know, with internet issues, so that may be just a reoccurrence of that. Hopefully no issues there for him in this one. Of course, what we did forget, of course, is a reverse top 10 for race 2, and I'm pretty sure race 3 as well. I should know, but it's been such a long time.
That format does sound familiar. It's been a while since we last done one, so I've forgotten it too, but if we dig back through the results, I can tell you who's going to start on pole for the second race. The live race is the second to load. So it will be Ben Hall off of pole for race 2, and they've benefited a little bit here, Cheese and Coxie, because they'll be starting second and third, with Taipan in 4th, Kempe in 5th, Freakish 6th, Dame Liccardo in 7th, and if he can produce that same sort of pace again that he was doing in race 1, then possibly on for a win here. Pete Thrower in 8th, Tomo 9th, Braxton 10th. So the pace of some of those, it'll be interesting. Like, I wouldn't say that Braxton only won because of his pole, but he's having the pole there definitely helped. It meant he didn't have to worry about trying to build it. He didn't have to work on creating a gap to then build. He just had that there ready to go, and he could just start working on dragging out from in front of Tomo and not being involved in any of the action behind him. But yeah, like we've seen ourselves with other series that we've commentated on that drivers that can do well off a pole can struggle a little bit, and we've seen it this season as well, where drivers that have had the qualifying pace have struggled a little bit with getting past traffic. And it's not so much an issue of they can't pass the traffic, but in this case, how much extra tyre wear do you want to bite into? Because you spend a little bit more here to get past a few more cars, you're going to lose a little bit at the other end. And whether it's Braxton probably had, I think, 2 seconds up his sleeve at the end there, so he could bite into that a little bit more if he really wanted to, if he needed to, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. And with how it all sort of shaped up those final few laps, it was, lap time wise, it was fairly close between a lot of those guys. And with those guys having to battle their way back again to the front, we could see, as we've seen in other series, with the reverse format, whether it be partial or complete, is that the guy that finds himself in the lead of the race, if he can just keep it clean and just edge away from second place, those faster guys that you expect to be at the front can sometimes find themselves, stuck behind a bit of a banana peel, and they just can't work their way by them for a number of laps. It buys time for the guy out in front to build a bit of a gap as well as save tyres, while all those guys behind that may be a little bit faster, they're using up their tyres just trying to get back to the front. And with a few of those guys having to, they're going to have to work their way by Darren Campbell and a number of other drivers that aren't particularly easy to pass. Taipan's not particularly easy to pass, and Ben Hall can be quite difficult as well. So it'll be very interesting to see. We did see Cheese have a bit of pace as well before a bit of contact with, unfortunate contact with Coxie there. So, those guys, they can just put it the start together, first few laps together, together nicely, we could see, like the Cheese, Ben Hall, find themselves in a very good situation. That said, of course, Coxey's going to be starting, what is it, third place, so on the second row there. So, you know, fast driver, but he's going to have to deal with, the likes of Kemp and Dane, as well as Braxton and Termo, as well as Peter Thrower to sort of, they'll be looking to get their way through. So, could be a bit interesting. And those guys knowing that Coxey has a championship up for grabs, they may play a little bit of hardball with him because he's fighting for a championship. Those guys a little bit further back, they're just playing for race wins. So, it could see a little bit of bullying going on to a championship leader. You never know.
Well, yeah, like a lot of the guys further back, yeah, they haven't gotten to see championship aspirations, but I imagine some of those guys probably had benchmarks that come into the season, especially the full-time runners had benchmarks that of where they're going to go, or just, working to improve on their PBs. I know Ben Hall's come on pretty good with pace. He's starting off pole, so he's going to interact with this lead group at some point. Josh Watson as well. But yeah, sort of Kempy type and Freakish, that group, and Cheese as well. They're here to have some fun. But I imagine they've got their own type N. But trying to pass cars that are battling is even harder because they're focused on each other and they don't really care that you're there. And all it takes is you to go for a move that was never really on, or going for a gap that somebody else has already had a later stake to, and you lose the 10 seconds that you would have not lost had you waited another 5 seconds. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see how some of that plans out as well, because of that top 10 that got flipped, they've all interacted with Braxton cleared out pretty healthily, but they're all running pretty similar pace there. So I don't think we're going to see quite. Dane's an example, Braxton's another maybe. But I don't think we're going to see quite a big spread of, fast guys pulling away from slow guys in that. I think there's going to be a pretty dense little sort of top 9, top 10 as to how long it takes Ben, who's not quite on the pace of these guys, to filter back through. Where all that plays out. But I think it'll be a really good race.
Yeah, there's a number of drivers that could win this race here, and even race 3. So, tyres going to play an issue. Getting your way through the traffic cleanly is going to be, an issue. And we've got a number of drivers. Well, it's a short racetrack, which always throws up close racing, but it's going to be, close anyway, because, everyone in that sort of top 7 are very closely matched on pace. So anyone, or even the top 10, if things go their way, anyone in the top 10, starting in the top 10 here, can win race 2 here if they just have a nice clean run and are able to race their own race. So going to be very, very intriguing. All I hope for is that it's clean. We saw in race 1 there that outside, a bit of accidental contact, I think, between Cox and Cheese. Outside of that, there was some really good racing up and down the field with no real major contact anywhere. And you've even had, I think it was Freakish, and it was either Freakish or it was Cheese and Darren Kemp going side by side through turn 1, 2, 3, and 4 there without any issues. So that's hopefully we see a bit more of that action and a bit less of Adelaide. So going to be very, very intriguing. Still about 2 minutes away here in this warm-up session, and with that I'm just going to go and just take a little bit of a break. Rody, I don't know if you're going to stick around.
I might do the same as well. Yeah, as I said, I didn't realise how much this takes out of you. It's been a while since I was after it, so we will catch you guys in a couple of minutes for race 2 of ASR Super 2 round 9 at Pukekohe Park Raceway.
Yeah, so just a nice 1 minute or 1-2 minute break here, but we'll be back with 2 more races from Pukekohe Park, and going to be a cracker. Don't go anywhere. All right, once again, I am back. Not sure if Rody is back. Got about 10 or so seconds for the warm-up session to end, and then, of course, there will be a little bit of a cool-down period before it switches over to the race session. But another thing to sort of just take note of, obviously, Damian Kelly hopefully won't have any issues this time out. We have seen him sort of dropped out when he ticked over to qualifying, and then he jumped in for the warm-up and for race number 1 there, and it was parked there in the middle part of the track on the formation lap. So hopefully his issues get sorted and he's able to actually take part tonight. He's back in the server, where Ben Hall will get us underway for the reverse top 10 race 2 race. But another thing to sort of take note of, I reckon, in this one is going to be, obviously we haven't mentioned tyres, but once again, I think we will see drivers as, oh no, Damian Kelly's dropped out again here. So he's not having a good start. May need to turn his graphics down or programs off in the background, but one thing that will be interesting is there we go, just having a reset there for Damian Kelly. But yeah, the tyres are, we may see drivers that were on the hard tyre in race number 1 just take that risk now that they've seen, well, pretty much everyone in the top 10 look like they were on the soft tyre. We may see those drivers ready. I'm not sure if you're back. May see a few of those guys towards the back there that were on the hard tyre. They may just go, well, we've got nothing to lose. We're well off the pace there in race number 1. And if those fast guys can make it last, if we're going a little bit slower, we should be able to make the tyres last as well. So that could be something that we see, that sort of gap between sort of, 8th, 9th, to the rest of the field. We could see that come down as drivers do make that change towards the softer tyre here, Rody.
Yeah, and that's usually what we see with any sort of strategy play where there is a 50-50 sort of response from the driving collective as a whole. You have a couple of guys go out there that run the risky strategy, in this case running the softs, and they're the trailblazers, and when it works, they've blazed that trail. And normally you get most of the grid will go, look, if they're doing the pace they're doing and they can make it, we can do it pretty comfortably at our pace, and we'll go out on the softs, and we'll be a little slower than them, but that just means we're using less tyre. So yeah, I think now we're going to get a lot of guys, having seen the top sort of probably 8, 9 do it. The rest of them, assuming that's all, I suppose there's some more that were on softs. The rest of them that were on the hards and just not able to fight as hard as they would have liked to, are going, no, we can't beat them, we're going to join them. And I would imagine most of the field, they've got some decent running in there. Someone like, Damian might be an exception, but he's in there with the Kiwi guys and they'll be talking him through strategy. I think most of the field, or all the field, probably on the soft tyre now.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Oh, Ben Hall's actually just jumped back to the pits there and left it. He's left it very, very late to get back onto the grid there. But I will go over the championship standings. There has been a couple minor changes just before Rody gets us underway here for the grid, which unfortunately Kelly's not going to take part of here. But Cox's gap has come under 100 points now. 2-2-3-6 plays 2-1-4-6 to Termo, and Kemp is back up to third on 1977. Cheese not far away on 1917, but he's actually been overtaken by Dane Liccardo on 1926 now. And we've got both the Red Bull drivers equal on points if the points are correct on 18-14. So very interesting for the Constructors' Championship. But anyway, or Teams Championship. But Rody, run us through the grid here for race number 2 from Pukekohe.
Yep, we've locked out here because Ben's heard us and he's giving us a nice slow lap to give us some time to get all cars through. But yep, starting from pole is Ben Hall for Team Cool Drive. Second will be Cheese with Darren Cox in third. They're going to have a good scrap again, I reckon. Taipan starting from fourth with Kempy behind, then in front of Freakish and Dane Liccardo. He's one that I'd expect to be moving around a little bit. Pete Thrower starting from 8th with Termo out of 9th and Braxton out of 10th. He should rocket through as well. Lockie Lock starting from 11th with Josh Watson from 12th, backing up the 11th in qualifying. He's having a really good night so far. Steve Warwick in 13th with Aiden in 14th. Justin Cecil in 15th, and Justin Cecil and Matt Cecil seem to be tied together again because Matt Cecil's starting one spot behind in 16th. 17th will be Darren Longan. I think the first driver to finish a lap down in that previous race, and he's just finding his feet and getting his pace. And one of, I think, the only lap drivers to not come a cropper at any point, so he's having a nice clean run. Same with Laszlo Teglis. Didn't see him in too many issues, so he's having a good run as well. Zach Brown starting from 19th, despite those early pits, actually managed to finish ahead of a couple of guys, so just kept plucking away. Melody Smith starting from 20th for Team 18. Thomas Colby starting from 21st. Those two who had a couple of issues in that previous race, but with a bit more seat time, they get the car under them. Starting out 22nd with Nathan Higginson, and I'm reliably told he's got the red mist on, so I'm not saying I have to fill out any incident reports for him ahead of time, but he's going places, and unfortunately we have lost Damian Kelly from race 2.
Yeah, so he dropped out just as it switched over for that first race. It did go back to the warm-up, but it looks like it's been just moved, and he's not been able to get back in time, so there must be a driver down there out of position. Looks like it's the Mega Fuels / Rubble Club car. FGX of Thomas Cole down the back there is moving around a little bit, but just waiting here. Drivers have been warned about that. But lights are on now, and who will get the jump? Away we go. No jump start. Speeder throws got around. No.
Somebody went nowhere in the background. I think it might have been
It was either
Liccardo
or Kemp there.
Yeah, I think it was Liccardo. And that split the field.
And one of the Red Bulls as well. They went nowhere off the start, and also could have lost multiple positions, but didn't. I got lucky with the contact between Kemp and Liccardo there, but looks like everyone through the first complex fairly cleanly, although Tegla's having a bit of a moment in the back. Turmo looking to get by Darren Kemp, and we've also got Liccardo looking to make a move on Braxton Stancliffe at the chicane, and he gets that job done. Kemp looking to buy into that action, and Braxton's like, I lost one position, I'm not going to lose two, but he's very squirrely on the exit there. Liccardo already looking to make a move as we've got the Team 18 car off in the background. Kemp making a move, and a bit of contact and biff and barge there, and both Red Bulls there being overtaken at the hairpin there, so they've not had an ideal start. But someone that has is Cheese. He's up one spot, and Cox as well. He's right behind him now, and they've got a bit of a gap over Ben Hall, who's got a mega train behind him.
He's got a very big train, a very angry train. I mean, not even like the guys we thought would buy into this. I see Josh Watts in the background trying to buy into it as well. That's Type running a little wide, but he's kept it on the track. But yeah, a very, very angry train that's going to want to try and process through Ben at some point. He's going to put the others out, which he's got a full right to do. He's going to hopefully, get some miles in actual close racing under his belt in this race, which is a good thing to do when you start off a pole, but you're not quite over the pace. Ricardo and Taipan are no holds barred there. They're running each other right to the inside of the racetrack, and that wasn't really a move for Ricardo there.
I don't think. I think they're both sort of cut to a replay there. Oh no, something happened.
Can be around in the background. I think he was battling with one of the Red Bulls, and might have just been a bit of overlap at some point, or just really.
He went to go past two of them in the one corner, and then a bit of contact with the one car, and then contact with the 97 car on the exit. So that's going to be an interesting one to sort out there. I'm not sure how we're going to sort that one out, but Cheese still leads. I do want to cut to a replay, actually, of what happened a lap ago between Taipan and Liccardo here. Because I think both at some point were in the wrong. So Liccardo's got the run out of turn 4. Taipan sees it, drives in his mirrors a little bit, and then just moves over and puts Liccardo on the grass there. So, we've cut live, and, Liccardo's should get the move done here, but Taipan going to try and hold on around the outside as Freakish makes his way up into third place ahead of Ben Hall. And I've also seen the Red Bulls swap positions as well. So Braxton finds his way ahead of his teammate. And again, more contact between Taipan and Liccardo. And also got Turmo and Thrower duking it out as well. So a lot of action at the start of this one. And Nathan Higginson, who you did say has the red mist, he's up into 13th already. So solid start from him as Cox fastest lap of the race. So 104.0, a little bit more controlled as, just as I say that, we go under a 104. So 103.7 for Braxton Stancliffe in 7th spot, but he's got a bit of work to do. He's got to sort his way between Taipan and Liccardo, who are having the mother of all battles, to quote Saddam Hussein down there. He's got the run out of 4. And he's just got to pull it up here. But we've seen drivers hold on around the outside, which Taipan's going to do in this situation. Braxton going to try and get the run for the hairpin, which didn't quite get the drive off that you'd expect there.
Boy.
And we've got Matt Cecil cutting through the chicane there. All the drivers being very behaved, actually. When they do make a mistake, they're not just blazing through at full speed. They're actually slowing down for the tyre bundles down there, which is good to see. But Stancliffe and Taipan battling. That's enabled Liccardo to get away, and now he can set his sights on Ben Hall, who's wide and on the grass there, and Taipan as well. That's going to allow Braxton to get by, and maybe even Turmo may even be close enough to have a look by the time they get to turn 1. But side-by-side, Hall tries to hold on. Liccardo gets that position.
Yeah, I don't know. Ben maybe just a little bit frazzled there. Possibly just trying to keep an eye on what's happening around him, and maybe a bit too much time looking in his mirrors. But that's put him back a spot, and he's backed him into this train. So he's got Braxton now. When he make a move, he's just got through on Taipan, as you said, with Taipan running wide there. Still an angry little pack. He's got most of the guys through, but tacking on the back of this as well. He's just out of shot in the background, but Josh Watson having a good run as well. He's just in the top 10. He hasn't quite got the pace of the guys in front of him, but because they're all getting checked up to try and battle each other, he's still staying just about in range. So really good running for Josh Watson.
If all things go well for him here, he'd need obviously a little bit of luck. But with the way the guys are battling in front, as we cut to the battle for the lead, as overtaken around the outside by Daniel Cox there, penultimate corner there. I'll probably get a little bit of red mist there if I was overtaken around the outside there like that. But I think Cheese just wants to get a nice solid result here. Got a nice gap over third place, Freakish. And then, again, behind the Cardo now, just starting to edge away from the Hall battle pack, which Braxton has got himself firmly ahead of now. Taipan looking to get his way ahead of Hall now, but also keep Turmo and Thrower at bay. But as you're saying, yeah, Josh Watson, if all things go his way, there could be a few drivers get tipped out or make mistakes later on in this race. He could find himself with a top 5 if all things go his way in this one. He's not far away. If a driver makes a bad enough mistake, he will pick up a position from that leading pack. He's that close. But I've got Taipan and Hall duking it out here. Turmo looking to get involved as well. It's mega defensive from Hall, but Taipan says, thank you very much. I'm still going to go down there anyway because Hall's ran wide. Now Turmo looking to buy in. He's going to try and do it. Cox did a lap before. He's not quite got the same overlap, but he'll have the inside for the final corner. Hall has to give it up, and now Thrower, he'll probably get a decent run and have a look as well. But no, doesn't quite get the run, but it is going to be Hall and Turmo side by side into turn 1.
That was really brave of Ben. He hasn't necessarily got the outright pace, but you can't fault the kid. He'll anytime there's a chance to, he's going to go and have a big dip, and that's what he did there. I didn't expect him to hold around the outside on Turmo, but he did. He lost out in the end, but that would have been a real butt-punching move to run it too wide through there. But yeah, Turmo's now through, and Pete Thrower's now running in the back as well, probably benefiting from a bit of a double slipstream off with Turmo and Hall.
He also set up a good run. He deliberately took the wider entry line coming on to 4, and he's got the job done. So smart driving from Thrower. He's up into 8th now. Hall back down to 9th. And Watson not too far away as we see Liccardo now look to make a move, and he's made contact there, but they both live to fight another day with Dane Liccardo. And they've got Freakish not too far down the road, but they've got Melody Smith there looking to get out of the way. It's an awkward point. And, there's nothing really Braxton could do about that. I mean, he's got to try and take that corner without dying himself, and you don't want to miss that apex. And just AMS things, I think, when you do have that sort of inside contact there, when you're inside car, it's very easy to spin, unfortunately. But Braxton in 4th now, but surprised Taipan is actually doing a really good job holding onto the back of Liccardo here. Sort of has to. He's got Turmo right there with him. And again, very defensive down the straight. And, he leaves the car width there. Didn't quite do that when Liccardo was there. But Turmo looking to make the move. We saw Taipan was good. Under brakes here. He goes for the switchbacks, but he's given Turmo a serve. And Turmo's had to cut the chicane. So Turmo might be a little bit grumpy about that one. And he's even going to redress that position just to be safe there. But shades of Winterbottom and Whincup 2013 down there. But now we've got Braxton Stancliffe right behind Freakish. And I've also got the front two. Cheese doing a really good job here, Rhodey. Not too far away as they come up to Thomas Cole. We saw Cox in race, these two battling in race 1. Their battle was sort of compromised a little bit from lap traffic, and it's kept the Cheese in it here so far as Freakish comes across it here, and it's balked him at turn 4, and that may cost him a position as Braxton goes right behind the Rabble Club car to just get a slipstream. Probably would have been better off staying behind Freakish there. But he's looking to make a move at the hairpin. Late lunge. Freakish is very generous there.
Oh.
And Ricardo looking to follow suit. And Ricardo makes contact with Braxton. And
yeah,
that was Ricardo's fault. I have to.
He was really trying. He was trying to get past Freakish to do that. He needed to be able to pull a gap. He was trying to move Braxton up to get through there. Braxton lucky to hold out in the end. But he just pinched himself between sort of Freakish and the curb and Braxton, and AMS things and physics did physics things, and he's now outside the top 10.
Yeah, so a bit of a racing incident, combo racing incident. But if he wasn't so aggressive and put himself in that situation, he probably wouldn't have been spun around there. Nothing really that Freakish could have done. But Ricardo had a car in front of him, and that he was adamant and he wanted to get by and made contact and then sort of cannoned into the Nissan. But, it's made life much easier for Braxton Stancliffe, who can now focus solely on closing in on Cheese and Cox, who once again separated by a cigarette paper roadie. And Cox, a deep move on lap traffic, is I think a bit annoyed. He's been stuck behind and caught them in awkward points already in this race. And Braxton's coming up against the Team 18 car in the same position again. So it's a bit awkward for these guys at the moment.
Yeah, they're just having to catch lap traffic at the worst spots, and they're doing what they can. I think that was a bit of miscommunication there between the two drivers. So that's twice now Braxton's had contact with the Team 18 car as he's wanted to lap it. It's just the nature of this track. A very fast-flowing track means that if you haven't got confidence in your car through some of these sectors, you're going to really, really rein in or fall back towards cars that haven't got it as ability. Plus the rears are about to fall and luckily get out of the way of the cars behind.
I'm just trying to see if there's any contact between Taipan. Yeah, I don't know if there was. No, just dropped it on the curb there. But we've got Thrower here looking to make a move on the inside. Seeing Taipan hold on around the outside. Thrower is deep. And he's run wide on the exit. Turmo also having a crack. But, no, I don't know. Thrower just looped it by putting too much power down with too much locker. If there's a little bit of minor contact there, just cut to a replay and find out if he just got a bit of a helping serve there from the Nissan. No, looped it on his own. He'll be kicking himself, but still finds himself in P8 and not too far away from that battle pack, which if it keeps going the way it's going, he'll find himself back in, behind it in no time.
Yeah, so it's interesting how this is panning out. Something else of note, we had it for a second there, although Dane's outright pace. So we actually had, I suppose, two of the hotheads back on track, and actually we've now got Dane's trying to buy back into the top 10 now. He's coming up the back of Josh Watson. Josh had some good pace, but he hasn't quite held onto it. He let Lachlan lock through in the last couple of laps.
Got haul off.
Lap had some influence there, but now he's got Ricardo, Higginson, and Zach Brown, and I believe Matt Cecil in the background also trying to chase in on him as well. So if Josh can hold station, he's looking pretty good for a pole for race 3, but he's going to have to put some elbows up or hope for something else to go his way.
Yeah, so just cut back to that, and Ricardo, he's got the move done on the inside. He's going to have to go around the outside. A little bit of contact on the outside, but he'll have the better drive. And Ricardo into 10th place. But Lockie Locke's actually been doing a pretty solid job in recent laps. And he's not too far away from Peter Throw and Ben Hall. So he could still find himself up another couple spots. As Turmo, he's very wide on the final corner, but able to hold on to it. He's right behind Freakish. Taipan just edging away there, a couple tenths faster on that last lap. Braxton Stancliffe is edged away from Taipan, but he's not really made any inroads on Cheese and Cox in front of them. So a bit of a tempered drive, or maybe he's just doesn't quite have that pace at the moment.
Yeah, 3-second gap. We're going to blind it a little bit because they are battling a little bit, but they're not battling as ferociously. I think sort of once bitten, twice shy for the pair of them with how hard they were battling in the first race. Going to go back and have a look at the live race and see if I can get a little more of a buy into that. But yeah, I don't know, maybe just looking after tyres for the mid stage to have another crack at the end, or what? Because we know he's got the pace, or he's shown the pace so far to be able to win this race. But
Turmo got by freakish there at the hairpin, and we've also got Peter Thrower has actually caught and passed Ben Hall as well. So Hall's struggling a bit now. I think the pace has been a bit too much for him, Rody. Last couple of laps, he's been off the circuit. He's been getting it sideways. And I reckon his tyres just hurting just a little bit here. He can't quite live with the pace of these front runners and maintain that tyre life at the moment. But as Thrower loses the rear end under braking, and he's going to drift his way through turn 4. He's going to get a poor run, and Hall's probably going to get him back here. Yeah, Hall's going to get the better run. All his hard work, Thrower, is going to be undone. As in the background, we've got Nathan Higginson. He's got by Josh Watson. He's also got Zach Brown having a decent run, not too far behind him as well. So, nice little battle here on the fringe of the top 10. But the biggest battle we've seen... Oh, we got Hall off the road again. I don't know if that was a redress or not. Just, again, cut to another... Yeah, he's just cut the chicane there. He's just outbroke himself. So that's why he was going slowly. But the battle for 4th place resumes. Taipan and Turmo now. And poor run from Taipan off the final corner. He's going to force Turmo right to the inside of the track. But watch out for the bump on the inside. And Taipan wide as well. They're both wide. But Turmo getting the job done and into 4th place. He needs to get as many positions as he can to minimise the points lost to Cox at this stage. But actually, that's something we haven't seen. There's a change for the lead, Rody.
Yeah. So
lap traffic
finally got past Coxie. I'm actually not sure how.
Lap traffic.
Covering the background, so whether that maybe played a part into it as Melody spins again. But I don't know whether that played a part into it or what it was. As I said, that it's a lot more of a mature battle between these two drivers. They've both been around a little while. Both have some good pace and some very consistent driving. And again, as I said, once bitten, twice after what happened in race 1. But that said, I don't think Cox is quite giving up on it yet, or maybe he's just jumping in behind to, I don't know, maybe have some tyre or something, or just
he got balked.
Play the mind game.
He got balked a little bit by some lap traffic right here on the previous lap at turn 4, and he didn't quite know where to go. And Cheese just got the run and just got by him on the exit here. But the gap now 2.7 between 1st and 3rd. But did notice as well, behind Peter Thrower, Lockie Lock, not too far away from Ben Hall now. So he's been nice and consistent. Hasn't been outright fastest out there, Rody, but he's doing a really solid job. Can still find himself with a nice, solid amount of points as Hickinson has picked himself up a drive-through penalty, for which I can only assume is for track cuts. So let's see what he did here on the old replay. So, yeah, that is a track cut there. Did cross the white lines. Probably a little bit harsh in my eyes. It's been changed, but it's the rules and it's the same for everybody. And it is a drive-through. And what has happened to Cheese? He's dropped down to 4th. 1 minute 14 on that last lap. What has happened?
Trying to scroll back through now.
Oh, no. He's had a big hit at the final corner. They were coming up to Thomas Cole.
Oh, no.
And they were forced to try and go offline to pass him. And he's going to have severe damage now. So I reckon he's... looks like he's right hand down a little bit there. So shame for Cheese. He's in a great position. And once again, a leader's been balked by some lap traffic here. And we got
reminds me somewhat of, I think, what the DJR crash a couple of years ago that the car went on its roof, but at a much later point than that car even went in. You don't see cars go off there, but that was just trying to run a bit too wide, instead of being forced to run a bit too wide, and just no grip on the marbles, and car he tried to turn in and the car just wouldn't go.
There's also a bump there, and if you're not quite on that line and you go over that bump, it's a one-way ticket to Paynesville, and he bought that ticket, and he's hurting right now because he could have been there battling Well, he still would have been battling for the win with Coxie, but instead he's got to settle with a damaged car and fight with Taipan, who's not been an easy man to pass in this one. He's also got a recovering Peter Thrower looking to make a move here on the inside. He might get two of them. Taipan's wide. 2-for-1 deal for Peter Thrower. Thank you very much. And he'll be hoping to break away from those guys. Taipan loses 2 spots in one corner. And, bit of a shame. Oh no, Higginson's got another penalty here.
Thomas Cole, I can see what he was trying to do there, but it was kind of, I think, a bit unsighted to the cars around him. Taipan was trying to make a move on the inside.
I'll be flat out blunt, Rody. He should have been lifting well before the apex and braking zone of that corner, and instead he just wobbled his way in and then decided to get to the apex and park it. So, not very smart driving. Taipan won't be too happy, and don't tell me that's another penalty for Nathan.
That is another penalty for Higo. He's really having a go.
Sorry, we've missed that. Was the final lap. Cox wins, and we had a photo finish between Turmo and Braxton Stancliffe. So something happened to Braxton Stancliffe on that last lap there. Perhaps ran out of tyre. I reckon he's lost his front left maybe because he was very slow through that final corner. But Turmo somehow, Rody, able to recover to second and minimise that points loss to Daniel Cox there. Unlucky for Braxton Stancliffe. Now, a number of drivers out there pretty unlucky. And Cheese actually got himself back up into 4th place out of all that. So what's happened to Peter Thrower?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and have a look at that one as well.
It sounds like he's lifted. He's lifted to let Cheese get on the podium there, I reckon. Or not on the podium, but into 4th. He lifted. I went on board. He lifted there. That wasn't out of fuel and or anything like that. So, Cheese can thank Peter Thrower for that one. 4th and 5th for those guys. Taipan, a very fighting 6th place in the end. Very punchy. Good effort from him. Freakish home in 7th. Another one that we sort of ruining some mistakes there. Ben Hall home in 8th place. Been a very abrupt end to this one. I do apologise here. Lockie Lock home in 9th. Solid drive, and he'll have a good starting position for race number 3. Dane Liccardo, I reckon, may have deliberately just let him go at the end of that race to start from pole in this one, maybe. Didn't see, but it is a tactic that we have seen drivers do from time to time. Hans Brunswick in some of these series. Zach Brown home in 11th. Good run from him. Josh Watson home in 12th. Some good pace early on, but just fell away in the mid part of that race. Cecil home, Matt that is, in 13th. Darren Kemp home in 14th. Bit of a disappointing run, but can't remember what happened to him and why he dropped down the field. I think he was caught up in some of those battles and just had a spin.
Yeah, I think caught up with lap traffic or just got throttled at the bad point at the chicane and looped the car. But yep.
Yeah, so that's a fair amount of points that he's going to be giving away there. Justin Cecil home in 15th. He's going to get pushed by his teammate there. Darren Lachlan home in 16th. Aiden home in 17th. Laszlo Teglas in 18th. With Thomas Cole and Nathan Higginson coming home a lap down. Higo having a bit of a nightmare with all those drive-throughs. With Melody Smith home in 21st. Steve Warwick at DNF. We didn't pick that up in the race. Rudy out in this one. So he'll be hoping. Yeah,
that was... I called that. I was trying to figure out what happened. He was coming out of... He was in a battle coming out of turn 4. He was accelerating through the corner, so I don't think he lost his engine, but he pulled off the inside, pulled the car to a stop and just jumped out. So I don't know whether maybe something happening maybe in his household they need to attend to, or what that was. I don't know. Maybe he'll either be watching or he'll said something somewhere, and I'll have a look. But it was an odd one because the car didn't look broken. Fuel would have been good. It was he just pulled over and jumped out. So I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, hopefully he's able to make race 3 and have a good run in that one. But we saw some good racing. We saw some bad luck, and we saw some silly racing there in race number 2. But it's going to set up a very interesting race number 3 here, Rody, where I expect it to be a little bit similar to race number 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy, which I didn't think we necessarily having with a lot of these drivers having run in the Enduro Cup and having run a couple of the Wheatley series that they've been running some of them took a break, and some of them were running through the Enduro Cup season to just give them a bit of an outlet. There's been a bit of energy flying around. It sort of popped up in Tuesday in the ARCs and didn't quite carry across into TSAC, the X5 Cup on Wednesday. But yeah, I don't know. It's like there was some lap traffic incidents there, which were just a bit unfortunate, and some where some were just really miscommunication. Him, and it's, I think, just a bit of an unfortunate track to be lap traffic at. And then I'd like to know somewhat what sort of built the energy between Taipan and in particular Dane Liccardo there, because Taipan's not the sort to really start swinging, and we know Dane, when he's got a measured head, he's pretty good. But if it starts to get the better of him, then he'll start to get a bit feisty. But like lap 2 or lap 3, they're already chasing each other to the grass, and I don't think they've got previous history. But I don't know, somebody's hit somebody else's buttons tonight, and the energy's come back into the sprint racing. But yeah, it's. I mean, some really good battling, and it's 95% of the field have been good so far.
Just some unfortunate
little spot fires have gone a bit too far that probably need to be put out before race 3.
Yeah, hopefully for race C they do get all sorted out. But certainly going to be an interesting race number 3 here. So just seeing here that Steve won't be back. That's unfortunate, but hope all is well there. And it's not stressing over something back home there. But just updating the point standings. Daniel Cox, of course, did just extend his lead over Termo there by 3 points. So 2,336 for Daniel Cox, 2,243 for Termo. And Darren Kemp now actually moves back up. He still holds on to 3rd place in the standings, but he's not got many points between himself and Dane Liccardo now. Liccardo only 7 points away. Sorry, I mixed that up. There's 30 points between Kemp and Cheese. So Cheese is in 4th place. Would have been a little bit more without a little bit of bad luck there, but 30 points from Kemp is Cheese, and then Cheese is 7 points ahead of Dane Liccardo. So that battle for 3rd place in the championship really hotting up. You also got Peter Thrower not too far away as well, but he's going to need a little bit of help there, being 97 points away. But he's actually just behind his teammate Braxton on a 19.08, with Peter Thrower on 19.02. So those guys could still sneak their way into the top 3 in the standings, but it's fairly close between those guys. They have about 100. They have 100 points. Well, Braxton has 100 points over Taipan. So that'd be 94 points or so between Thrower and Taipan there. Also got a close battle between Freakish and Matt Cecil in the standings for 9th and 10th place. 2 points between those, with Freakish in 9th place, and just ahead of them is Taipan on 18.08. But when the round's over, is Teams Championship, Brody. With the way tonight's been going, it's going to be very, very interesting to see sort of how those points have been going, because we've had Taipan had a pretty solid round, picking up a 7th and a 6th place, and Cox with that did take the win obviously in race 2, but that 8th place in race number 1, with both the Red Bull cars doing fairly well overall for the night. Would expect that points gap to come down between 1st and 2nd in the team standings.
Yeah, so yeah, that's sort of where the focus is coming to sort of look at the front because the gap between Turmo and Cox is closing down a little bit, but yeah, as I said, something sort of drastic probably has to come in for it to really make an effect with what is only 4 races left in the championship. But no, that team's points situation is definitely the one that's the most alive at the moment. And yeah, pretty strong showing from Red Bull, pretty strong showing from the Brad Jones crew tonight so far as well. And the Sigurd guys aren't doing too bad. I think they're let down. Matt's had some decent runs, but he's not quite striking to the top 10 yet. So that's sort of leaving them lagging behind a little bit. And trying to pick the fourth team, and that was one of the Nissan teams, which was Cheese and Freakish. Cheese, having decent results as well tonight, sort of mirroring Coxie aside from what happened in that second race. And then Freakish, pretty strong 5th and a 7th as well, so they're looking all right as well. They're all sort of the teams that aren't quite there, or at least covered off by having one well-performing driver, and then a case of Brad Jones and Red Bull, where they haven't necessarily had drivers right up the front. Obviously, Coxie winning the second race, but team championship after the round rolls out. We're interested to see where that sits and how that looks going into the last round.
Yeah, certainly it'll be pretty interesting to see how it all pans out once it's all said and done. But we've still got one more race to go. We've ticked over to the race session where Dane Liccardo, after finishing 10th in race number 2, there will start from the pole position. And, of course, Steve Warwick unable to make race number 3, means we'll only have 22. Damian Kelly has made it into the server. Hopefully, I hope and pray that...
touch wood while you're saying that. You don't want to jinx him.
Well, I think it's wood. It might be that fake wood stuff, but this, the table, I'm touching it. I hope he's able to get through the formation lap, have a bit of racing, and have a bit of fun tonight. Here in race number 3, hopefully he's able to complete all 18 laps and have a good stonking run. But just waiting for all the drivers to form up on the grid. And Rody, take a bit of time here because I don't have anything else to talk about. Run us through the grid here for race number 3 from Pukekohe.
Alrighty, so for race 3, starting on pole is Dan Liccardo for Big Mate Racing. Pretty good showing for him so far, considering that he started last in the first race. This is a really good position for him to crack on and try and get a win in this third race, and put a stamp on his little championship battles. It's coming out of second is Lockie Lock, not the fastest so far tonight by any stretch, but putting some really consistent, some good consistent pace in that second race has put him in the position where he is in, and he can battle on for a little bit longer. Same with Ben Hall, starting from pole in race 2. He's starting from third place in this race, and he'll be able to have a good race with Lockie Lock. Out of fourth is Freakish with Taipan in 5th. They'll be back to the battles again, I would expect. Same with Pete Thrower starting from 6th and Cheese in 7th. Braxton Stancliffe starting out of 8th. Not quite the pace we thought he'd have in that second race. Just a bit of a ridge too far for him to buy into that lead battle. With Termo starting from 9th and Daniel Cox starting from 10th. So Cheese benefiting maybe a little bit from how that all played out. Zach Brown starting from 11th, bit of a surprise to see him up this side, but good result from him in that second race with with Josh Watson in 12th, hashtag not last. Matt Cecil starting out of 13th with Darren Kemp in 14th. Justin Cecil out of 15th with Darren Longan, just, nice clean running, and he's starting from 16th. Aiden starting out of 17th with Laszlo Teglis starting out of 18th. Thomas Cole, hopefully a cleaner race for him in race 3, starting out of 19th. Nathan Higginson, good run, cruelled by track limits abuse for him, starting out of 20th for this one. Melody Smith starting from the pit lane in 21st, and Damian Kelly will hopefully, touching the wood of my bed, will be starting this race from 22nd position.
He's got to the grid. Let's just hope he can get to through the first lap and gets the racing underway. Number of drivers out of position by the looks of it, including Damian Kelly. I'd actually forgive him for sort of not knowing where it is because he hasn't had any practice at this. But I don't think he's the only one that's out of position. But here we go. And now we await the lights to illuminate. And looks like a great start for Liccardo. Poor start from the other man on the front row in Lockie Lock. Freakish and Ben Hall solid starts. Liccardo leads as they head into the first complex. They've been clean through here in the first two races. Will they be clean all night? And the answer is yes. They've all got through there fairly well, which is good to see. But Liccardo with a big lead, so we'll look back now. And a bit of a back with Ben Hall and Freakish. And also got a bit of a dive as well from Taipan there. Not sure if that was defensive or offensive, but he's going to try and go around the outside of Cheese there. But Cheese had a solid start. He's up 2 spots, find himself behind Lockie Lock, who has a look at the back of the Cool Drive car. We also see Stancliffe looking to make a move on Termo and Taipan. But Darren Cox hasn't got anywhere. Braxton Stancliffe has got that move done. Finds himself now in 7th spot. And, outside of Liccardo here, Rhodey, this race looking very tasty already.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy back into this race again in his first couple of laps, which you saw in the last race. And, yeah, a good little train starting to form already. Going back to, I think, might be 11th or 12th. Good pass going on back there with Matt Cecil and Pete Thrower. But no, some really good energy in this train, and yeah, for the most part, seems to be fairly calm.
Yeah, as you can see, a very, very long line of cars here. Darren Kemp's also had a pretty solid start here. He's up 4 spots, not too far away from the back of our championship leader, as Taipan a bit defensive there into the chicane. Also had, looks like Freakish is, he already had got himself ahead of Ben Hall there. And he's about 2 seconds behind our race leader. But, see, that's Zach Brown making a move on one of the DJR cars there in the background. It's not Lockie Lock, so it would have to be Justin Cecil. So far, Lockie Lock doing a good job. He's holding on, as is Ben Hall.
Yeah, I just held just for a second there. He lost the rear coming into the last corner and slapped the outside wall, so he's going to drop a few spots. I think Aiden might get past him on the run through turn 1 now. That was unfortunate. Although it looks like he might have got away with not too much damage, but that was a pretty decent lick on the wall.
And we got Higginson made the move initially into turn 1 and then had to hold it around the outside into turn 2 there ahead of Zach Brown. So he'll have a little bit of red mist after track cuts in race 2 and obviously disconnecting race number 1. Did see on the opening lap there that Damian Kelly made up a few spots and has actually dropped 1 or 2 spots since then, but he's finally gotten himself underway. He's battling out with Laszlo Teglas there for 18th place, just ahead of Darren Lochnan and Melody Smith a lap down. Thomas Cole is out of this one. Not sure what happened there, but big battle here between Freakish and Hall. Lockie Lock not too far away, and then we've got Cheese now looking to make a move as Hall's wide. He's on the grass. Struggling to get back on the track there. That's a massive line forming up here. This is a bit of a Freakish train at the moment.
Freakish train, yes, but he's not really the cork in the bottle. He's just trying to break away. He just doesn't quite have the pace, or he's just managing stuff. Ben looking a little bit flustered again, and again, like he's starting to come into the pace, but he just hasn't got the experience quite to live up with these guys. But I suppose having Lockie Lock there is a good companion to that, because they're both in a similar position in terms of experience and pace.
Oh, big slide.
Jeez. Yeah.
I'm not sure if there was contact or anything. Just caught the back end of that, but thank you very much, says Cheese, as he gets by Braxton Stancliffe after all that. But Braxton's going to look to make a move straight away, is he? No, he's just going to hold station. Coxie, though, looking to make a move on his championship rival, as is Darren Kemp. So Kemp now in the 10 and ahead of Peter Thrower, not too far away from Termo and Cox, who are about second down the road. And Lucky Lock's actually just streaked away from Cheese. He's under attack from Braxton Stancliffe, and Ben Hall now putting pressure back on Freakish again. So it's yo-yoing between all these guys here from second all the way down. The gaps between them opening up and closing quite rapidly at the moment.
Yeah, and it's all coming down to whether they're choosing to battle, or whether they're choosing to just jump on the train. I would have thought they would have gotten through, sort of started to process through Lockie Lock and Ben Hall by this point, but they're both running a decent enough race, and when they're battling each other, as I said earlier, it's very hard to pass. Ben slightly deep on the brakes, had to cut across the apex and very nearly got back to the freakish. That's given Lockie Lock a bit of incentive now, as he's close to the back of him. And these two, if they start battling a little bit, they're going to fall back.
Big dive from Taipan, and he's bumped into the side of Stancliffe and then gassed it up and spun it. So, well, sometimes he'll
be annoyed, but that was self-inflicted.
Yeah, sometimes you can be aggressive and get away with it. Sometimes I've seen drivers able to pull that move off. In fact, he's done it once or twice as well tonight. But sometimes you do that and you just gas it up a little bit too early, and that's what he did there. And that's good for Braxton Stancliffe, as well as Coxie and Turmo, who would have had to battle their way past him. He's been the hardest man to pass tonight, has Taipan. So made their job much, much easier. And now Braxton can put Cheese under pressure. Lockie Lock, though, I don't think he's got the pace of these front runners, Rhodey, but he's just out here lapping at his own pace, and he's not making mistakes. So he's the one that probably been the best of the drivers so far from second all the way down here, where he's just out here not making a mistake. I don't think he's going to force a pass on Ben Hall. But if Ben Hall goes off the road, he'll certainly take it.
Yeah, as I said, similar pace, although slight mistake there from Lockie running a little wide. But yeah, he's out here running his own race. He'll put up a bit of a fight if he needs to. He'll put a bit of effort into a pass if he needs to. But he's just out here running his own race, and it's done well for him so far. And he's got no reason to change that up. He's just sort of got Cheese now, sort of trying to buy in the back of him. But again, he's just running his own race. So if Cheese goes for a move, I don't think he's going to pull across and put too much effort in defending it, because this is still really good running for him at the moment.
We got Liccardo out in front. He's being held up again. That gap had got out to about 3 seconds. He's going to lose the lead here. And lap traffic, the story of the night. And Ben Hall, out of all that's going to be the really big winner. He's going to go side by side with Liccardo. He should probably turn his lights off. And, Liccardo is actually just going to outbrake him there. And Lockie Lock looking to make a move. This is very, very messy with all these guys. Contact between Cheese and the Red Bull. I don't think there was anything that really the Red Bull could do about that. It was just everyone was just caught out of position there at Braxton there, doing the smart thing and redressing that. But massive battles everywhere. And after all that, Freakish is back to second place, and the gap is back out to what it was prior to all that traffic. But it took us a bit of contact, a spin or two, and we're back to status quo.
Yeah, that was a little exciting for a minute. That was probably one of the better spots for them to catch the lap traffic as a bunch. Obviously, Dane didn't catch Melody at the right spot, but no, it's all sort of strung back out to where it was. Ben Hall now a little closer in on the back of Freakish, and Welcome Lock, and it's just gone back to the train again. And they're all pretty happy to sit in a train. There's a bit of squabbling at the sort of the mid pack of that train, and they're just happy to play for the leader.
The big winner out of all that, Matt Cecil, he's another one that's had a really quiet run, but he's not made mistakes in this one. He's right at the back of this queue now, finds himself in the top 10. This is the highest he's been all night by a long way. And, a bit of luck here or there. He could find himself up a couple more spots with everyone battling for sheep stations here in this final race here. There's a big slide for Peter Throw out of the hairpin, right out sideways. And it's very encouraging for Matt Cecil, driving his own race, driving it nice and smooth. And then we've got our championship combatants. We've got Coxie and Turmo duking it out as Liccardo looks to build a gap now. Fastest lap of the race, 103.7 and 2.7 in the lead now.
Yeah, fastest lap then just set by Braxton Stancliffe, so he's done 103.6, but he's out of position now and having to redress that contact with Cheese. So he's going to have to buy a little bit harder to get back onto the back of this train and try to make some moves at this point of the race. But yeah, Dane checking out to about a 3-second lead at this point over Freakish, who's got pace but not pace to keep up with Dane.
Turmo making a move
for Turmo, and he's just about pulled it off, I think.
Oh,
no, not quite.
He did say Lock would fight too hard, but he actually just sent it straight back up the inside. But couldn't quite pull it off, but he's actually compromised himself, and now Cox is looking to make a move, and Kemp's right there as well if anything goes awry for Locke. But Locke able to hold on at least to one of those positions, but he will lose out to Cox here. He's still in a good position, but important for Cox to get by there and not let Turmo get too far down the road. But Turmo, he's got a bit of work to do. Ben Hall has been a difficult man to pass, as has Freakish.
Yeah, sorry, I just got a PM that dropped and I've lost train of where we were going. But no, Turmo now through, Coxie now through, and now it's Kempy. And Kempy, we normally see in the other way around, he's the one making things difficult. And you're right, I thought Lockie Locke ran his own race, would just do his own thing. But no, he's, to his credit, and he can legally do so, he's in the position to do so. He's put him up a fight. He's just moved over to make things a little harder for Kempy. That said,
Turmo,
he's still going to send it when he's got the spot, and Turmo's doing some stuff as well.
Yeah, he's deep under brakes there. I thought he was going to try and go around the outside there. So they're all a little bit concertinaing up there in that chicane there. So they spread out a little bit coming out of turn 4. Now it's all close again as Locke and Kemp battle it out. And a bit of nose to tail contact between Kemp that's actually helped him in that battle between himself and Locke there. He got a bit of a nudge on the exit from Peter Thrower, and they're going to go side by side to the final complex. Locke doing all he can, and he's going to just keep it on the road. Cecil's in the wall, but he won't lose too much time out of all that. Locke's still trying to fight that position. He doesn't want to let that position go, and he's going to have to, though. Not quite there. And a bit of a mistake for Peter Thrower as well, and Matt Cecil's back in the action as well, so it's all happening here. And poor exit there. I'm not sure if there was contact or what, but throw up, poor exit out of 4. Cecil now up into, Matt Cecil that is, up into P8. Still, always you see Freakish and Hall. He has to cut the chicane. He's outbroke himself. I don't know if he was looking to defend or make a move, but all this is great news for Dane Liccardo. But it's bad news for Ben Hall. He's lost 2 spots out of that. And now he's got Kemp behind him, and Kemp, who's, he's still got that EJR Penske car right behind him.
Yeah, just to answer to what that PM was, it was PM from Nathan Higginson, who has DNF in this race again. To add to the chaos we're having tonight, somebody went over the wall again, and it had to be one Nathan Higginson, so that explains why he's out of this third race. He's somewhere out in the grandstand, probably went looking for the Easter egg that's been hidden on this track. Higginson out of this race as well, so not the result that he wanted from tonight, but obviously he's got next week's running in supercars to chase that golden carrot. But no, still some really good action on track.
Yeah, very good action. Turmo, speaking of action, gets himself into second place. He's put a car between himself and Daniel Cox. 5.8 between himself and Liccardo. Probably not going to be able to close that down, barring a mistake or lap traffic, which we hope doesn't come awry. But Freakish now looking to hold off Daniel Cox. Ben Hall looking to hold off Darren Kemp, and Darren Kemp looking to hold off Lockie Locke and get by Ben Hall. Peter Thrower, bit of a gap behind now, but we've also got Matt Cecil and Cheese battling it out, and we've also got Braxton Stancliffe back onto the back of this pack as well, so still plenty of action to go in the final 5-6 laps of this race, with Cecil looking to hold on here. Looks like he's a bit of a cork in the bottle, and Cheese up the inside of turn 1, able to keep his foot on the gas, and Cecil able to pull it up there in the turn 1. It is quite an awkward section there if you find yourself on the outside of 1. And Braxton, bit of contact on the exit there, and they both live to fight another day there. We have seen in AMS in the past that's led to both cars ending up with a bit of an adventure into a concrete wall, but both able to live to fight another day as Kemp goes around, maybe in a bit of contact between himself and the Lockie Locke car there. We'll just cut to a replay and see what's happened, but probably missing out on a bit of action. So Kemp just having a little bit of a look there at the chicane, and then contact with the DJR car there, and Lockie Locke has just slowed down and redressed that, so that's allowed Matt Cecil back up. Braxton has got by Matt Cecil now. It's also allowed Cheese back up. Peter Throw's made a position out of all that, and Ben Hall now right behind Daniel Cox, who's right behind Freakish, who's a little bit behind Turmo now.
Yeah, so they've now Tomo's got a bit of a break now thanks to the lap traffic of Melody Smith, who's just coming out of turn 4 now. But he's winning some good pace as well. Not enough to catch Dane. I don't think anyone, Braxton's the only one on track seems to have any pace based off best lap times anyway to try and hold it to Dane, but he's too far back. So Dane just setting sail to try and build himself a comfortable gap. Tomo pretty happy in second because this is points he gets over Coxie, who's currently still back battling with Freakish and Van Hall.
And, Peter Thrower, through all that, all those guys are, I don't know, slightly compromising each other. Just took awkward lines through the chicane. Peter Thrower's been able to make up a heap of time. It's Ben Hall right outside, like some 11s coming out of the hairpin. And Thrower's going to look to find his way back into the top 5. He's had a good round so far, but he'd like to top it off with maybe even a podium here. He might be able to sneak himself back onto one. He's got the run here. So right on Hamburger Cam. On the inside at turn 1. Watch the bumps. But not quite going to have that overlap to demand that position. But we have seen him set the move up out of 4 here in the past. And I reckon he's done it here. Brody got that good run. He's going to have the slipstream. He's just got to pull it up at the chicane. And then perform probably a little bit of a block pass just to get that move assured.
Yeah, so he's got pretty comfortable brakes. Ben probably just getting out early just to play it safe. He's still got a decent run through the corner afterwards, but he's now through. And now he can start to set sail to maybe make an impact towards Coxie, who's still stuck up behind Freakish.
Oh, and Thrower, after all that, we did see earlier that he got himself in a decent position and then stuffed it up. Almost did it again, the same thing at the hairpin, just running a little bit deep, but able to pull it up this time. Thrower up to P5, Hall down to P6. Cox still stuck behind Freakish. And they're now 5 seconds behind Turmo. Turmo actually doing a 103.7 on that last lap, but still dropping time to Dane there. 5.9 now, the gap between first and second. They've thinned each other out as the race has gone on here in race number 3, but we've still got Cheese looking to fend off Braxton Stancliffe and Darren Kemp here for 7th place. And then we also have Matt Cecil and Lockie Locke looking to settle the final spot in the top 10.
Yeah, so still plenty of action, still plenty of spots still plenty of passes to be made here. Braxton Stancliffe, they're all trying to line up.
3 wide.
Kempy's through and might be
Oh
past.
dear,
No, I didn't think that was going to happen.
That's I would not be too happy if I was.
And I'm not surprised because a lot of contact there.
And he's not redressed that, so and he's driving in his mirrors a bit here. He's not doing himself any favours here, but Braxton now looking to make it. We've got yellows out here. We did have yellows down there, that final sector there. So we got a slow car.
Darren.
Darren Lachlan.
I'm guessing he maybe lost the rear coming through there. I saw it happen to Melly Smith earlier in the race, so I'm guessing that's what happened for Darren there. It's a good spot to hug the inside once you've passed the wall because the racing line starts to tear away from the wall towards the outside wall. So he's in a good spot. It's just probably a bit of a fright for these guys. And
we've also seen Cox move ahead of Freakish there. So just going to cut to a bit of a replay. So set that move up coming out of the chicane and then coming into the hairpin up the inside. Freakish too deep on the brakes. Cox says, thank you very much. And he now finds himself into third. But quite a ways off Turbo, about 7 seconds behind. And I've had Peter Thrower now up into fourth and not far away from a podium position. I don't think he got one in race 1. I think he was in fourth in that one. But he'll be looking to sneak up another position as our leaders, they're on their final lap now. Liccardo, 4.5 seconds clear of Turmo. Turmo, good 7 seconds ahead of Cox. And then we've got a couple of cars strung together. Got Freakish and Ben Hall to sort out their battle. And we've got Darren Kemp, Braxton Stancliffe and Cheese with probably a couple of scores to settle there. With some stuff that's happened in this one. But going to be an interesting finish to this one. A little bit of a look there for Cheese there in the background. Matt Cecil's also found himself with a bit of space here, so he could find himself a couple positions here if a couple shenanigans happen here. But good run from Braxton out of turn 4. A little bit of bump drafting. Kemp going super defensive already. Bit of smoke ahead of him here. Braxton going to try the up and under. He's forced Kemp to outbrake himself, and he's got that job done. As got thrower right outside ways at there, looking to get a move done. But Dane Liccardo will have a pretty quiet run, or back half of that race after the lap traffic early on made it close. So he's 5 seconds ahead of Termo, who will gain about 3-4 points on Daniel Cox. But you never know; it could all be worth it if Cox has a bad race or two in the final round. Cox home in third place. Thrower couldn't quite get himself on the podium there. He'll finish in 4th place, but a good drive nonetheless. Freakish home in 5th. Ben Hall, solid night from him here, Rody. He'll come home in 6th. Braxton Stancliffe home in 7th. He was, up and down. Bit of a yo-yo. Bit of a pinball as well at times. Same with old Cheese there. He'll come home in 8th place, but again, he had some good pace as well that he'll be ruining. He got stuck behind some guys. Darren Campbell home in 9th place. Matt Cecil home, finishing the night off strongly with a top 10 in an otherwise fairly tough night for him. The first 2 races didn't quite go to plan for him, but race 3 certainly did. Zach Brown home in 11th. Good solid night from him. Taipan, race 3 didn't quite go to his plan. I'm not sure what happened to him. I can't remember, but he had the pace to run in that top 10 race, but race 3 didn't quite go his way. Same with Lockie Lock. He could have been in those battles there, but just caught up in what was quite a melee down there. Ends up home in 13th ahead of Josh Watson in 14th. Justin Cecil home in 15th. Aiden home in 16th with Damian Kelly able to finish the race.
Yes.
He's able to race and he's able to finish. So hope he enjoyed himself out there. Obviously a bit of a quiet one looking at the gaps there. 13 seconds behind Aiden and almost a lap ahead of Teglas there. But hopefully he had some good racing there in the early part of that race. Teglas home in 18th. Finished all races with very little practice. So good job from him. And then Darren Lachlan, we did see going slowly towards the back end of that race. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm pretty sure he finished all 3 races as well. Monty Smith home in 20th. More bad luck for Nathan Higginson ending up across the fence. So I'm guessing he had too much of a dip somewhere. And the red mist has led to the death of about 50 spectators. So great. We've got Le Mans 1955, was it? All over again?
Yep, 55 Le Mans, yep.
So well done, Higo. Motorsport will now be cancelled in New Zealand. So yeah, that's no good. But DNF for him and DNF also early on for Thomas Cole there on lap 2. But some good racing, some not so good racing, but certainly some, I guess, entertaining racing, you could say, Rody, for the neutral.
Yeah, so it's some really good racing for those able to sit on the sideline and not so necessarily buy into it. For those following certain drivers, certain teams, mixed fortunes. Some did quite well. Ben Hall being a good example. Lockie Lock at points there, aside from that 3rd race, and some of them just caught the short end of the stick a couple of times. I know Higginson's one that feels he's in that boat, and a couple of other drivers as well. A couple of good debutants. Some of them we expected to see. I know Darren was pretty keen to jump in, and some of those that we didn't really expect to see. I forget his name now, but Damian won. Yeah, no, I'm happy Damian finally got a finish in there, because it's no fun rocking up to a race and then not even getting started. And then Legolas as well. He's doing pretty well as well, considering I think he's connecting in from South America and the
Europe, one of the two. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to double check, but yeah, certainly not from this continent. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah. So, but no, it's overall I think a pretty good race weekend. I think there's going to be some maybe some bits that will be looked at later by the stewards, but all in all, pretty good return for Super 2.
Yeah, it was a fairly solid evening. Did see some good racing. Some stuff that could be cleaned up, but I think most drivers out there can be quite happy with just the performances that they had. The consistency might not have been there for a couple of guys, but I think everybody tonight had like that 1 or 2 good races that they can sort of hang their hat on and say, yeah, that was pretty good. They might not have had the other race or 2 quite go their way, or they got caught up in stuff, but for the most part, it looked pretty good for most of the drivers. So hopefully, going forward, the final round of the championship, we can see some more entertaining racing, less of the biff and barge, and more of the side by side, really clean action stuff that we saw in race number 1. But the big question, Rady, do you want to do interviews? Because I can't be stuffed answering asking questions. Can you?
Look, we've only dropped on the guys once with interviews, and that was from the mess that we got at Calder. But look, I think most of the guys have behaved, and look, there's some stories that I would be interested in chasing down, and I think some of the viewers would be interested in the chasing down as well. So, look, I'm happy to carry the load, but I think we can do some interviews.
All right, so I'll let you sort of ask the drivers the questions. I'll just mute myself and have a bit of a drink. So well done to our podium getters, and hopefully everyone had a good evening tonight. But Rody, lead us away with the interviews.
All right, so the driver I thought it'd be here isn't here yet, so I won't start with Dane. No, sorry, Dane is here. Sorry, I forget we've changed his name. So I will start with Dane.
I am here.
You are here, yes. A pretty good run for somebody starting off the back of the grid with no practice.
Yeah, I guess so. The first race was good fun coming from the back. Never thought I'd get that high up.
Rooted racing between you two in that second race.
That's something I'm not going to comment at this moment in time.
All good. We'll leave that to official channels, and then race 3. You started from pole, and aside from I think about lap traffic, you had no challenges.
Well, it looks like I had no challenges, but the challenges was fuel. Again, underfueled it, but did it better.
In
with
race
3 laps.
3,
Yes.
You underfueled it.
Yes, by 3 laps, which is why I dropped 3 seconds by lap 5. I was heavy fuel saving.
Okay, I'm surprised because again, you've got 2 races before that to work out your fuel numbers, and you didn't perfectly find race 2.
I was very annoyed about race 2. And didn't put enough fuel in.
But yeah, look, it's in the end you had to work a bit harder for that than you made it look. But I went at the end of the night, and it's not quite your usual record of 2 wins and something well off the bottom end, but still I think that's 3 top 10s for the evening, and with no practice, that's a pretty happy result.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck, Dane, and we'll see you in 3 weeks' time for the finale at Townsville.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, we're going to swing it across now to Termo. Termo, pretty on the end, probably about the best result you could have hoped for outside of picking up a couple of wins there, and ever so incrementally you've managed to close the gap to Daniel Cox.
I'm not looking at the championship.
Well, I mean, you're still mathematically within a chance. Obviously, you need a little bit to go your way, but you did the best you could tonight. You didn't have quite the pace to keep up with Coxie in race 2, and then who was it? Braxton in race 1, and Dane in race 3. But still pretty solid result. 3 lots of seconds, especially after having to fight back through the grid in races 2 or 3. You get pretty happy with that, I would think.
Yeah, I am.
Cool. About all the words I was expecting to get out of you anyway, Temo. We'll throw another question in there just to extend this interview a little bit. What's your thoughts going into the last round?
Don't know. See what happens.
I suppose that's all you can hope for. Townsville is one of those places that produces some really good racing, so we'll see how it goes. But
Definitely a street circuit is going to be carnage.
Oh, it will be. You and I have both been front row witnesses for previous Townsville shenanigans. So
Yep.
hopefully we don't get that, but it should be some pretty good racing.
Hopefully.
Alrighty, good to see you up here, Tomo. And you know what? Fingers crossed. Not that I want to throw any shade the other direction, but fingers crossed. You make it a little closer for the title fight here in the last round in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Speaking of that title fight, we'll have a chat to Daniel Cox. Not quite the dominant performance we're necessarily are expecting, especially from where you've got yourself to at this point of the championship. 8th in that first race. I suppose that's the first point I want to talk about. That little contact with Cheese, was that just sort of getting thrown off by the lap traffic in the position it was, or just a bit of a rare sort of drop of concentration?
Oh, well, basically, yeah. I don't know if you guys caught on the broadcast, but yeah, I don't know if he was getting the blue flag message at that car, but he wasn't rolling off, and literally was met him at the apex of the last kink onto the main straight. And I was in fifth gear, and I couldn't drop it back down to fourth. I was in blown engine, so I had to sit there and hop it. And yeah, Cheese, took advantage of that, and I went fair enough. But then sort of, I can't remember what happened, but I just remember Cheese was right in front of me, and I'm braking, and then I think he might have braked a little harder. I think it probably I spoke to Cheese after the race, and props to him for being such a good sport. And it was just racing. It did suck. It was unfortunate because we're having pretty much a good race till then. But it's just unfortunate. Yeah, just met a lap car at the wrong time and then didn't roll off for the blue flag. So which is kind of annoying. Second race, I'm happy with the win, but I started I always want to try and win. The race one is I sort of take race 1 and race 3 the most I try and it's all based on qualifying, so I want to see how it go after a qualifying. So I was sort of disappointed with the 8th one. I'm happy with the first, but I started way up against all the guys I was sort of racing with, and thankfully in race 3 I did get to good race, but I think there will be probably some Stuart talk regarding blue flags, because it was just it did affect all 3 of my races, unfortunately, and especially in race 3 I think I was close to about of a second, and then met a lap traffic car. I probably should have met a lap car, so hopefully that can get tidied up, because we've got the last race coming up, and my goal was just to finish in front of Termo. I couldn't do it. So, props to Termo for his race well, and especially Braxton. He was definitely fast. It was kind of annoying because I was in the right place where I wanted to be lap time wise and lap condition for race 1, but then the brakes.
All good. Now, like as I said, part of that is just the roll of the dice and luck you get. I think part of that plays into the nature of this track being a very fast track and very little place to get out of the way. Although Townsville street circuit, plenty of sort of stop-start corners, should be plenty of spots for lap traffic to get out of the way.
There is a big long straight that people got to slow down when they didn't.
So I imagine there will be some discussion after the race with some of the drivers, but no, from where you sit, not quite the performance you kind of wanted, but not a bad result in the end.
Am I still in front of Tomo?
You are. I think the gap closed by about 10 points. So you're still 90 points ahead. So as I said, you're going to need
a good round.
Yeah, a good round. And, I think just to finish all 3 races in about where you've been sitting is sort of puts you in a good spot. But,
it's not over till it's over.
Exactly. It's not over till it's over. All good, Coxie. Good to see you up on the podium again, and good luck for the final round.
Yeah, sorry for talking you off. Never mind.
No, all good. You make it easy. I have to ask you questions when you answer them before I get to them.
Cheers, buddy.
Alrighty. We'll swing over now to Braxton Stancliffe. Braxton, good way to celebrate getting a new rig with that win in the first race, and you backed up pretty well, 3rd in the second race, and sort of slipped off a bit in that 3rd race. But from where you were sitting, how'd that night go?
It was enjoyable at times, and then other times I had to mute myself because I was getting a little bit frustrated. But it was good, hard racing. First race, Termo ended up catching up to me, And then second race, he ended up catching up to me again, but got me on the last corner, which I wasn't happy about. But it was my own mistake. I took the wrong line and stuffed myself a bit there. But yeah, third race wasn't the greatest. I had a bit of a collision with Cheese and had a few lag issues. Didn't know what was going on and whatnot, so I had to just back off a bit. And I believe I lost quite a few positions. But yeah, ended up getting back to 7th, I believe. So it's not bad.
No, so that's pretty good in the end. That's helped you pretty well in your title fight. Your championship battle with Pete Thrower. You guys are now separated by 3 points. Is that sort of a focus for you coming into the last round to try and beat not only Pete, obviously beat your teammate, or are you guys probably more thinking maybe the team's championship as a focus?
Yeah, me and Pete aren't focused on it. Well, I'm not. I can't speak for Pete. You'll have to ask him that.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm more focused on the team's championship. I'm not exactly sure where it stands at the moment. So
Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. It was pretty close coming into the round, and all 4 teams that are in the title have put in some pretty strong performances. So we'll see when the math turns out. But no, you guys are still looking. I think you're still on the fight. So still 1 round left, but fingers crossed. What's your history been like at Townsville? Do you like the place?
I don't exactly remember my positions, but I do like the track. So I've driven it a few times. I think I actually had a collision with Burko last time I raced there. So hopefully that's not going to happen with another driver in Super 2. But yeah, no, I do like the track. It's a fun track, and look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Obviously now you've broken in your new rig, and hopefully that'll continue to pay dividends for you. And we'll catch you in a few weeks.
Yes.
Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, and it's been a while since we've last had a chat to him, Pete Thrower.
Hey mate, how's it going?
Pretty good, mate. How's it going for you?
Yeah, tonight was a mixed bag really. Race 1 was pretty good. Race 2, tensions got pretty heated in the Kiwi Sim Sports camp, to be fair. I apologies to Taipan, who I absolutely unloaded on during the race. But no, I've apologized to him privately already. But yeah, just we were wanting to do really well being our home track, and I think we put a bit of pressure on ourselves to do that at times.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, just generally across the board, some really good performances for the Kiwis. You know, you're back up on the podium in the top 5, and it's been a while. It's been, I think, a couple of rounds since we've seen you up this end of the field. Talking about your compatriot as well, Josh Watson. He's having a good run as well as Aiden. I think had some glimpses there as well. Unfortunately, I think a bit of luck didn't go his way, but look, having been in that chat, just generally for you guys as the Kiwis, you guys pretty happy as a whole with how this round went for you guys?
I think so. I think we've all kissed and made up already, so it's nothing too damaging to the team morale. But it was mostly me, to be fair, and I think Cheese felt a little bit of aggrieved by a few things that happened to him as well. But I mean, we'll move on. It's all good. It's just racing at the end of the day. Alrighty,
and same questions I threw to Braxton just before. You guys are now separated by 3 points in the Drivers' Championship. Is it more focused for you just to get the one up on your teammate, or are you looking more from the team championship to work together to try and take a win there?
100% teams, mate. I've got no chance of beating Braxton in a race. He's absolute lightning compared to me. So it's definitely his to throw away. But hopefully he doesn't, and we both put a result in, and we get a good team victory.
Awesome. Alrighty. Thanks for chatting to us, Pete, and hopefully we can chat to you again in a few weeks' time.
No worries, mate. And just thanks, Lewis, for chucking the sponsors boards around the track. That was awesome, mate. Thank you.
No worries, mate. And again, hopefully you enjoyed the night. Hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. It was great fun.
All right, Rody.
Cool.
Rody, thanks for conducting the interviews for us this evening. All drivers doing a pretty solid job tonight, and might as well bring up the old schedule here for what is going to be the final round of the championship, November 26th, Reed Park Circuit, aka Townsville. It's a track that you can lose a lot of time in if you're not you could just be slightly off your game and you could find yourself a good second down at that circuit. Again, very short circuit. You've got to hustle and bustle your way through the streets, over the curbs. There's a couple corners and bumps that can catch you out, Rhodey. It's going to be a very intriguing final round of the championship. 3 races separate both, Coxie and Turmo for the Drivers' Championship, as well as Brad Jones Racing, Triple Eight Race Engineering for the Teams' Championship, as well as Tickford. I mean, they're still there as well. And Nissan not too far away if there's a, massive disaster for those teams in front as well. So still a lot to play for the drivers. Final round of the Super 2 season. Obviously the circuit and the drivers. How do you see it all playing out in a few weeks' time?
It's going to be a very different race. It's going to be something behaving a lot more like Adelaide, just that street circuit nature. It's, as I mentioned in one of the interviews, it's a lot. The average speed's a lot lower at Townsville. It's a lot more stop-start. There is still some good flow sections in there. There's the fast and the slow chicanes, which, if you really want to, you can try and make a pass happen there. There's a hairpin. There's down at turn 2. There's down at turn 4. Plenty of big break opportunities for you to try and get a pass done. And also, as we mentioned, for those that are playing as lap traffic, nice big wide avenues at sections of that track for you to get a chance to get out of the way. Still definitely some danger at that track though. Again, that chicane, you catch someone at the wrong spot through that chicane and everything goes wrong. And it's a pretty normal feature of that circuit. But that hump as you come over Charles Towers Road, that right-hander down to the hairpin, if you're on it a bit too much, or even just on used tyres, which are an issue with, which I reckon are going to be an issue. All it takes is a bit of a rear squiggle, and either you get to catch it, or the rear goes round, and you're in a bad spot, and you haven't made the fence, and I don't know, maybe someone come around behind you will catch you as well. So, look, it's been a really good track for racing when we've been there previously through both Super 2 and Super Cars, and look, I'm really keen. I'm probably a little unhappy that I'm not out there racing it, but no, it's gonna be a really good race at Townsville, and look, one way or another, it's gonna be a championship decider.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting one. We've seen it all in real life racing. Doesn't quite happen as often in pixel car racing, but you just never know. Championship deciders, there's 3 races where, it can all go wrong for one driver and just, fall into the lap for another. I mean, we've seen in real life with, 2010, for example, in the V8 Supercar Championship, where just all come to a battle in the pit lane into who could get their car into a position where it wouldn't be meatballed. And then, you've got things like, Sebastian Vettel in Formula 1 in 2012 driving with, a car where it didn't have half its side pod, and they would have DNF'd it on any other day. And then you got other stuff, Brazil 2008, and you got, who knows, we could see Turmo turning into Andre Heimgartner / Rick Kelly, Heimgartner from this year to ruin the championship, and then you could have Rick Kelly from 2006. You could just drive someone into a fence and, cause a bit of a chain reaction. 2017 Newcastle, I'm seeing in the chat from Rossi, that's another one. Some other third party could just have a massive crack. They've got pace that they haven't had all season, and they want to go out there and get a win, and championship combatants end up in the wrong spot. You never know. So, hopefully it's just a straight battle between those 2 drivers. But may the best man and best team win in that sense. And 3 weeks time on the 20. I've actually got something else on
26th of November.
On the 26th. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm just looking for. I do have the image lying around somewhere of the Supercars calendar, so just bear with me here. I'm trying to bring that up. I don't have it on this slide at the moment, so I may try and look for the Aussie racing cars still to come. I know there was.
There is still a couple of rounds of Aussie racing cars. There's also still a couple of rounds of Super Series. GT3 has 1 round left at Bahrain. That'll be, I think, a few weeks' time. And if you're looking for more casual stuff, the TSAC MX5 Cup continues through until the middle of December. There is 3 rounds after that. We had our Sydney Motorsports Park Druitt round, which went all right. It's been a while since we've used the Druitt layout. I think the last time the Druitt layout was used here was for GT3. And then we've got Sandown, Simmons Plains, and our finale, not typical, but usual finale for TSAC at Bathurst. But yes, there's just in the ARCs pop up. There is 2 rounds of that left in a random draw calendar. We've locked out with some of these random draw rounds. 2 rounds ago was Salvador with the last/first turn chicane that is a place of death unless you've done a turbo and worked out the way to hack it without it killing you. And I can't remember what we ran last round on Tuesday, such as been my week, but that's been a really good series to run in, some really good fun casual racing. Still plenty of racing for those that want to run, and we're not finishing up stuff until
start of December. Yeah. So
yep.
I won't bring the GT3 up just yet. Of course, that's penciled in the same sort of weekend, I think, as the last round of Super 2, but there is still some conjecture as to whether that date may change due to real life supercar stuff and broadcaster being busy that weekend as well. So that may change. I won't bring that up. Got the Super Series on the screen, of course. That has 3 rounds still remaining. Oran Park Raceway, that's going to be a bit of a bull ring for the drivers to contend with. The tyre wear has been taken away, so they won't have to worry about the front right melting and you're driving on a rim for the last 4 laps of the race. And of course, Circuit Chris Amon at Manfield. That's only been run once in the Super 2 series last year, and then Long Beach 1998 will round out the season, and I'm pretty sure that's the last round of ASR for the entire year. Rody, correct me if I'm wrong there, on December 7th.
I believe Super Series is the last ASR event. There is TSAC the week after, but yeah, that is the last ASR event for this year at Long Beach. I will just talk about Oran Park. I don't believe you've actually been running in the series, but I would invite you to come and jump in one of the guest RS cars, and we can do an exclusive free reenactment of the foundation of FK and Rody and Associates Legal Services.
Well, I don't think I'd be giving you as much room, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure you might more likely to end up in one of the food court, one of the food vendors on the right hand side there at the outside of the final corner down there, I think. But we'll see if I if I get the time, if I just want to do that particular round. But 3 rounds of that remaining. Should be interesting one. Tyre wear no longer an issue for that series after we did make some changes to lower the tyre wear. So we've gone from 2 times to 1 times wear. And we do, of course, have 2 rounds of the Supercar Championship remaining. If you just give me like 30 seconds to download the image, which I do have on my PC somewhere, but I just can't find it.
Yeah, so that'll be next Friday at Pukekohe Park Raceway, and then it will be 4 Fridays from now at Townsville. And that's going interestingly as well. Championship fight, from memory, I haven't actually looked at the points since we last did a broadcast. But championship fight from 1 and 2, actually, I'll bring that up now while we're bringing up information to actually talk about how that one's looking, because I think it's a similarly gapped fight for the points they're earning for their races, but by no means is anything tied in really there either. Let me just bring up.
Yeah, so I think Luke Rosella, provided nothing goes wrong for him so I do have the image up on the screen. It's a little bit cropped at the moment, I do apologise. So of course, Pukekohe next Friday night. I reckon that's should we get a full field with all the drivers. I reckon that'll be a very closely contested event with some of the Kiwis probably going to do pretty well around there. Then of course, season final December 3. I probably won't be there because that's the weekend of 1 year wedding anniversary, and if we can, we'll be trying to get out somewhere. But going to be an interesting end to the season in the Supercars. Championship still up for grabs, but Luke Rosella probably at this stage does have one hand on the trophy in that one, Rody. I think he's about a round ahead, or just about a round ahead anyway. I'm just trying to look.
Yeah, he's sitting about 300 points ahead, so he's effectively it's remember it's 150 awarded for a win. So yeah, he's something in the region around ahead. So he's got something up his sleeve, and Luke's pace has been pretty good all year. He hasn't had maybe the outright pace of Kurt Stenberg, but Kurt's appearances have been spotty, and his safety record hasn't been what he wanted either. So that's meant he's currently sitting in fourth. Second, and look, big kudos considering where he came from 12 months ago, or not even 12 months ago, but graduating from the Super 2 Summer Series, Tim Redmond currently sits in second. He's got a good fight on his hands with Will Devonish, who's in third, then Kurt Stenberg in fourth. Pete Savage is sitting in fifth at the moment, but he'll be missing the next round and possibly the round after that with life getting in the way for him. So that leaves the door open for Termo and NZ Snipes to maybe make a swing as well. Potentially also mathematically in for a good finish as well as yourself.
We'll see.
And round at the top 10, you'll see where the attendance goes. Round at the top 10, Brenton Foley and Cam Rutledge. And I haven't got the team's points in front of me from the last round because they're only publicised as those with the broadcast. But I know last I looked, the team's championship was pretty tight there as well. I know CRE are buying in there. And I think maybe the Kiwis from memory, or actually might be PBF that's in there as well, with Foley in 9th and Rossi in 12th. Again, CRE, if they can't win a drivers, they're having a crack at the teams. They're pretty comfortable, I think, at the moment from memory, but with Pete out, they're a bit iffy on whether they're going to get a second driver. It most likely seems one of the Super 2 drivers that performed well tonight. We got the call up to race in Pete's seat for at least the next round from the last 2 rounds, but I don't think that by any means guaranteed either, but still plenty to play for in the last 2 rounds of the Supercars Championship.
Yeah, there certainly is. And one thing that Luke Rosella has been lamenting a little bit is that if his teammate Scott Nolan, who has been on again, off again, cars, in AMS, not always the funnest cars to drive. If you'd actually been present for a couple more rounds and had a little bit better luck, they'd probably find themselves, very close to almost winning both championships, but. Still, teams championship very, very close. I'd imagine. Again, don't have the points quite offhand, but I'd imagine CRE probably probably a fair way out in front. But you would have the Kiwis not too far away. Same with PBF as well, maybe even the second CRE team. But it's going to be a very interesting way. Well, all the ARC, ASR, I should say. Getting a bit late. All the championships really they're all coming to a head, and I think all of them, for the most part, are up for grabs in the final round, which is good to see. Although Luke Rosella probably, if things go his way, going to wrap the Supercars title up, the drivers' title up anyway, at Pukekohe. With all due respect to Tim Redmond, pace-wise, he's not been really the top 3 drivers of the series. He's just been mighty consistent and he's done a good job to be second, but compared to Devonish and Stenberg, who are behind him, those guys have looked for race wins, while Redmond probably just looking more for podiums out of that. So you'd expect Rosella to probably have that pace advantage, but again around Pukekohe, he's probably put in a heap of laps that we haven't seen, and could see him spring up and maybe even make a little bit of a late charge if things go awry for Luke Rosella. But anyway, this broadcast running a little bit late. Still a number of championships to play for, but Super 2 tonight, very entertaining. Probably going to have to do a couple things during the week to sort out admin-wise regarding some incidents and whatnot, but still very entertaining. Rhodey, once again, it's been a pleasure to have you on board.
It's been great to be back, and it's just as we're starting, we've only got 1 round left. I've only got 3 more calls between this and Supercars left, but no, I'm really keen to see how this goes and start to lay the groundwork for next year.
And next year, of course, for those that maybe are still watching and didn't hear it because you were busy racing, the Super 2 series will be rebranded next year as the ASR Development Series, or the Dev Series for short, and it will include a Super 3 class, which will have separate VE and FG car models, and you will be able to paint your own liveries for that one, but there will be a heavy limit on 1 livery for the year with that one, because we don't want to have 50 billion packs. So look out for that one next year. but that's still quite a ways away. But anyway, from myself, Lewis Wedding, and from Benjamin Rodeos and all the admin team at ASR, hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the ASR Super 2 Championship from Pukekohe Raceway. Catch you in 3 weeks' time at the Reed Park Circuit in Townsville.